Stop playing it, Christoph. We're on. You count us in, chits. Yeah, good afternoon. Welcome to race 2 of the JJ Giltinan World Championships here. I've got Sevi Jarvan with me, skipper of the winning group. Late call-up this year, Sevi. Haven't done much training. You've been on the main sheet most of the year with Herman. What do you think? How did you go yesterday? A bit rusty, but you came good?
Yeah, yesterday was a little rusty. We sort of chipped away. We were actually pretty happy with how we went. We obviously had the wrong setup in. We put the reef in. I think we thought the forecast was going to get windy, and we obviously haven't sailed for a long time, so we went on the safer option. I guess we're on the conservative side, and it probably backfired for us. But hopefully today we can see we've got the same sails as everyone else, and hopefully we're as quick as them, and we can just race and chip away at them.
And are there any areas yesterday that you highlighted that maybe you need to work on a bit more, or were you pretty happy with how the crew manoeuvres went?
Yeah, no, I think it's all slowly. Everyone's doing a pretty good job. I think yesterday was just the speed issue was our problem. We got off the line good. That was the problem. We had an invitation race, and we talked about that. That's improved, and then hopefully today now we just got to get to the front and stay there. Hopefully our speed's good enough and we can stay there.
And Sevi, you've obviously been around this for a bit. There's a bit of close boat manoeuvrability yesterday, and I think you had a few incidents with Marcus Jones on URM. Can you talk us through a couple of those?
Oh, I think that boat's just got magnets on it. I don't know. He just hits everyone, that bloke. Really just got to stay away. I think we've put a little beeper on his boat, so when he comes 100 metres, we just go the other way.
Oh, well, good luck today, and it's a nice sailing with Scotty Babbage again. It's good for him to get back into the fleet.
Yeah, everyone's good on this side. A few more grey hairs everyone's got, but we sort of battle away. It's good.
All right, well, good. Sevi's, he didn't get on the diet too early. Didn't know he was going to be sailing in the helm, so he's carrying a little bit extra weight. Hustle boxing, he's been in there. So you can see the fleet's just slowly starting to move out. Boats getting in the water. Honda, we were going to have a chat with them, but they're pretty keen to get out there pretty early, so they didn't want to chat to us, but we'll try and catch up with them after the racing. You can see the rain's just started here. Today the breeze was I've been sailing today, and the breeze was up this morning, and it's just slowly been lightening off, but these rain squalls, there can be a bit of breeze in, so we have to watch out, see what that does, and how it affects this race this afternoon. We'll cross back to you guys on the boat for a sec, and we'll see if we can find someone else.
Not good timing for the rain.
Back on the camera cap, thanks Troy. It's certainly a wet one, that's for sure. Last hour or two here in Double Bay in Sydney, it's been lovely, sunny, warm, everyone having a discussion about should we even go big routes, and all of a sudden out of nowhere comes not a lot of wind but a lot of rain. We're back to yesterday's conditions of a bit of horizontal, heavy, wet stuff, which is a little challenging for the sailors, a little challenging for the tech on our camera cat.
Yep.
But we're going to get through this like we did yesterday, hopefully. Just watching a bit of drama on the launch there. Jimmy, that's not exactly out of the textbook, that Honda Marine launching technique, is it?
You there, boys? I've just got the skipper of URM, United Resource Management. They've finally come to the party and got on board with Marcus Ashley Jones and his team. Marcus, you're down Lewis today. Has he made it to the start, or what's going on there?
No, he's been doing the MC38 commitments, so we've got Brando filling in, so we still should be all right, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Okay, and yesterday we heard a few altercations. We've just been talking, obviously, to Sevi down there at the end of the park, and he says you got in his way a couple of times. Anything to come back?
I know. I've just learned in the new rule book. It doesn't matter what tack you're on, you just got to stay out of the way of Sevi.
Yeah, okay, well, all right. We'll see how that goes today, guys. You can see, there was a couple of boats not going to have their crew today, but I think everyone's starting to get here. Maybe Lewis will get here and get on board with Marcus. Lummock's just going in the water here. We've got Woody just going in. He's got Noddy carrying the boat for him. Woody, couple of words before you head out? This is a big week for you. You love this, don't you?
I saw you there interviewing before, and I wonder why you didn't want to talk to me. You weren't interested in the back half of the fleet.
Well, Woody's a good friend of mine from Burning Man. We've done a Hobart together now.
And Burning Man shoes on today.
Yeah,
the gold, not these ones, the other ones, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to annoy,
And,
to annoy my wife.
That's the way. And Woody, you know, big week for here. You got the Kiwis over. Obviously, they've won the last 2 JJs, and I know that's not the way you'd like it to be. How do you think this week's going to go?
Not necessarily. I mean, if they sail best, you want them to win, and from, you know, the club's essentially the promoter of the event, and if you've got an international event, you do want something other than Australia on the trophy, so that's a great thing for us, really, and they've thoroughly deserved to win, so.
And Graham Catley leads that. You've had a long sort of standing relationship with him?
Yeah, he's been sailing since we sailed him in the 70s, yeah.
Great. All right, Woody, we'll leave you to it. Your boat's in the water. You can just, gets on, Woody. Just turns up and goes. So you can see it's all on in the skiff park here. People trying to get in. You know, the yelling really starts here on the dock. And there's no sort of priority. It's how they all line up. And there's people behind us running around. Some late things being forgotten. People forgetting centreboards. But, you know, we're getting in, and you can see them just going out in the bay now. I don't know if Christoph can get us out there. But, you know, they're sailing downwind to get out through the moored boats. It's all on from the beginning here. As soon as you get this thing in the water, it's a bit of a workout. So we'll head back out to you guys and come and see what's going on today.
Yeah, back on the camera, Cat. Just to remind our viewers, race start today is at 2:45, so just a little bit more than half an hour now for race 2 of the 2020 JJ Giltinan Championship. And of course, tomorrow we have a day off, a lay day, and then we're back at it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday's a day off, and we finish up next weekend, Saturday, Sunday, making, hopefully, if we don't get any cancellations, 9 races. Today, 24 boats in our fleet. Everyone's a starter. A couple of non-starters you will remember from yesterday in the very fresh forecast conditions. A couple of less experienced crews decided to just sit that one out. But we got all 24 today. And one thing that I just noticed at the beginning, Jimmy, was the first 2 boats to launch were Shore & Partners and Honda Marine. Any
We're back on here, boys. I'm here. Hey? That's Keegan.
Oh, not the rush.
Yeah, g'day boys. Yeah, I'm back here with Keegan York, Keegan Finport, your team. You had we were looking for big things from you guys yesterday. You started out quite slow, but you came back through. I think you got back into 6th or 7th.
Seventh. Yeah, we had a really bad first run. We had a pretty good first beat, pretty bad first run. Then I put us in the piss, and then it was a catch-up game from there. But the boat's got plenty of wheels, so hopefully we get to use it again today.
Yeah, good work. And what happened on that first downwind?
We just kept a bit like the pinball. And wheel the ball, not the pin, unfortunately, and got bounced a few times, and then down the bottom mark. Yeah, that's not good. Then down the bottom mark, went for the big jibe, and yeah, I didn't turn the wheel hard enough.
All right, mate. Well, we'll let you get out there. You're sort of going to be the last ones out on the water at the moment, but I'm sure you'll make up for it. Yeah, it seems everyone's very keen, very keen. So you can just see these guys go under the water. Watch your head, Christoph. She's tight. You can see the complexity of getting these guys in and out of the water. They've got to carry these things in on their shoulders.
Have we taped up our stuff on the end?
Okay, that's it.
And Troy, they're also pretty heavy, these boats, aren't they? These guys struggling a bit to get the boats in the water.
Exactly. I've lifted a couple whenever my time, and we'll just jump back out of the way here, Christoph.
I just saw it there launching her boat. No move from you guys to give her a hand, I noticed.
Oh, mate, she's got to do the full experience. I'd like to, but I'm holding this microphone. But, yeah, mate, she doesn't, she takes it on. And we saw yesterday, I was amazed, like that first top mark. She was in the top 3 and really pushing these guys. And, it's great to see. It's what we want to see.
She was quick, wasn't she, yesterday? At one point, she looked like she might have been 1-2 with no red, and the shift went against her, but no lack of pace in that setup.
Exactly. So, and we've seen in the lead-up, she's mixing up. She's not just here to make up the numbers. So she's obviously got a good bunch of guys with her too, and got a good program. Sean Langman with the Noak sponsorships really supporting them. And That's great. I love it. Okay. Well, yeah, that is true. That is true. So it looks pretty big. I'll just have a quick chat to them. You guys going the big rig today?
Yeah.
Big rig, yeah. What's the call? Give us the call on the big rig. What are your thoughts?
It's only 12 knots out there, so
Okay.
why is everyone going little?
Yeah, no.
Everyone's just being a bit lazy and don't want to change the rig.
I like it. Good attitude. And have you sailed with the big rig up range?
Oh yeah, what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Felt good. Felt faster than the little rig downrange.
Good. All right. Well, you'll be swinging it down today. You got a heavy crew, or are you guys pretty light? You look a little bit light.
No, about mid-range.
Okay. Good stuff. Oh, well, they're into it, the Vintech. So looking for big things from them, especially in the lighter bits. You are right. It was down to around 12 out there when we were yachting this morning. So, hopefully once the rain goes through, there's not much on the backside. So could look for big things from the Vintech today. I don't know if it'll be my sort of go, but I'd try and match the rest of the fleet. I mean, we saw the boats that went for the reef yesterday. It didn't really pay off, hey, if you're mid-fleet and you want to sort of get a good result, why not give it a go? So we just see Shore and Partners just here. I think, Christoph, I don't know if you can see them or not. We'll just come over this way. We'll come to the wall a bit more. And they've just run in, got the other spinnaker. They've got the second spinnaker on board now. So they'll do a quick change. And, lucky that they spotted that where they did. Obviously, they've got the number 2 rig on, so they've put the big spinnaker on by mistake. Would have hoisted it up and noticed that she's way too big for what they got going on.
That might have been a bit embarrassing, wouldn't it, Troy? But here's a question, Troy. What's the chance of them rigging this spinnaker correctly under this pressure?
Yeah, it'll be a focus to make sure. But, they've got time. If they get it wrong, they've got time. They'll be fine. And
well, you just saw on the picture there, we just saw the one of the crew just treading water upwind with the old kite over his shoulder like a rucksack. Yeah. They've got the other one in.
We'll just go to Christoph and pan to him there.
Change.
Yeah, Christoph just got him there. So Steve Quigley, he's going to go and help him out.
Yeah.
Just help them get back out. It's, don't want to make it any harder for these guys. They've got it all going on today. And I don't know if I'd be going all out on the big rig. I don't know about you guys, but she's sort of, what's the crossover, Bucko? Yeah, well, look, we've been out there this morning. It does get down to 12, but look, those 3 guys I was talking to, that big. So, but they've got some height to them, so at least they can get a bit of riding moment that way. But yeah, it's a big call to go the 1 rig in this. Should be a workout. All right, boys, we'll see you out there.
Yeah, back to the camera cat, and we've got Andrew Buckland's a microphone. Well, you're probably wondering why we weren't hearing from Bucko. He's with us. I'm pleased to say, James Beery driving the boat. My name's Mark Healy, and we've got the usual tech crew with us. We've got Michael Giltinan running the show, and we're hoping that we're going to avoid the wetness tech problems that we just avoided yesterday. Thanks for all the complimentary comments we had for the coverage yesterday. It's really the tech crew that deserve those compliments, because it was a remarkable achievement to not have anything break down. Well done, guys. Anyway, we have Andrew Buckland back. We have his microphone fixed. Bucko, yesterday we all sort of thought it was going to be fruited than it was, although you were calling it early that maybe it wasn't as much in it, and in the end it probably was on averages less than the whole fleet thought, particularly the boats that put reefs in. But today, what's your view about how this is going to play out weather-wise?
Well, it's the same sort of gradient system that's produced the wind yesterday. The breeze yesterday ended up true southwest, which did throw a bit of a wrinkle in for that course configuration. As we speak right now, it's dead set southerly here, and I'll probably give you an update just near start time about what the compass wind is. We would
the models have got it fading and rotating a little, and we've seen the beginning of the fade, and it's purely gradient wind. Water offshore is still pretty hot. That's why we're still getting, you know, little cells coming on, you know, with water in them. And there was a cracker that came through this morning about 12 o'clock that was torrential for 20 minutes. We've just had a much milder version go over the racetrack in the last half hour, sort of thing, and you know, so that's probably going to be how the day will pan out. I'm half of a mind that it's at the bottom end of the rig range for the little rig, but the whole fleet, except we think Vintech, is on little rig.
And just looking around, there's patches of blue sky on Sydney Harbour. I mean, not as many blue patches as very, very dark grey ones, but we're going to get odd bits of clear stuff. Hopefully we'll get enough clearness that we can get a drone up for you. As you'll know, there were no drone shots yesterday caused by the heavily inclement weather. Today we're hoping we will get a little look at the drone, which would be nice. But for now, it's pretty grey on Sydney Harbour. It's a bit like yesterday, but a bit less rain, a bit less wind. But no question, it's a small rig day. Plenty of excitement coming our way for race 2. And Jimmy, just thinking back over yesterday, there was a lot of people have been saying today that it was one of the most interesting courses because it was such an unusual wind direction, and we got to see the whole fleet hammering downwind, using the whole of the harbour, no traffic. Tactically, it was fascinating. Boat handling, it was all on. It was great to watch, wasn't it?
Oh, it was awesome to watch, Mark. It was like that run all the way down to Otlus is obviously one of the highlights of sailing in 18. And for them, like, you know, if you look back at previous years, and you know, famously the Asco years ago ran aground trying to get down there. They're really tight normally on starboard going down there, and they were able to join wherever they wanted to. A lot of people overcooked the bottom mark, a lot of people undercooked it, but it was awesome to see the change and the lead change, how much lead change there was going down there yesterday. It was, you know, it was definitely a huge highlight for me to watch it.
And just today's course, just talking us through what you think will happen before we'll get into an official version of the course in a little while. But just for now, what's your sense? Do you think we're going to be same course, same alternative top mark? Is it going to be kind of a bit of an action replay from that point of view, or what's your thoughts?
Look, I think it probably will be exactly the same course as yesterday. Maybe the top mark might be over where it traditionally is in Double Bay off Clark Island there. But I know there's a cruise ship in the harbour, which is a course common for them down the bottom of the bay. So, down where we're going to start. So you know, cruises are in there. That'll be down here. Keep turning it off.
Yeah, that cruise liner is significant, isn't it? Big white blob down the bottom of the course. It's got our eyes on Ilve at the moment, so we didn't talk about Ilve much yesterday. That's the boat with the super funky metallic hull, but maybe we'll see a bit more of them today. And off to race day. Ilve. Well, Ilve is going to need all the help they can get. Another Italian manufacturer, obviously, with a lot of problems with this COVID-19 outbreak all around the world. Not a lot of products going to come out of Italy, so hopefully the LV guys have got enough stock that can keep the Australian customers happy. Top white goods brand here in Australia and, of course, all around the world, but a big presence here in Australia. And just to lure them with their Finport. Troy was talking to Finport in the boat park, but we kept our eyes on them, didn't we, Bucko, yesterday? And up to the point where they had a capsize, they were kind of in an okay shape, not in the leading group, but they were fine. But the way they came back into the fleet following a capsize, well, it was pretty impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, of the fleet yesterday, I think, you know, people can take some confidence out of yesterday, despite whatever the final result was. There's a group including Finport, who were on the riding lever down at Opolis the first time, and nearly got onto the podium. Like, well, one, 200 yards more racetrack short of the podium. And that's how quick they were. Winning group also with a reef to get fourth is a pretty extraordinary effort in my view. I think even Tech 2 could take some confidence out of yesterday. They started poorly, they got to the lead, and just at the death they gave it back, obviously, but they would certainly be confident of their handling and their straight line speed, I think.
Yeah, you kind of get the feeling with Tech 2 that if they have a boat handling mistake, and that's really what it was, that's what they went from the lead to a poor drop to third. if you get one out of them in a regatta, that's the only one you're going to get. And I reckon the rest of the competitors, they've seen the only mistake you're going to get from Tech 2, as same with a couple of the top boats. The boat handling is at a level that really nothing phases them. But they did trip up yesterday. Let's not over-talk their book up too much. The reality is it was an error they probably won't make again. But under the pressure, end of race 1, it was a pressure situation with 2 boats extremely close behind them, including the reigning champion. In the end, well, something went wrong. And Jimmy, pressure counts even to the best guys, doesn't it?
I had a chat with Treno afterwards. He was a bit dirty on himself, but that's life. But sure, Treno just makes him a little bit more angrier, and he'll come out swinging today.
The kite might come down a little bit faster.
Yeah. Oh, Mark, I think they were just a bit unlucky, in a certain way. I mean, hard to anticipate every single thing that happens under that windward shore there. With the breeze in the southwest, the wind there was between 6 and 20 knots, wasn't it?
It was unbelievably hard. That bottom mark, for anyone who didn't watch it, well worth looking at the recorded version of race 1. And if you fast forward to look at that particular section, super hard down that bottom mark. And just, Bucko, explain why people were finding it so difficult down there.
Well, there were 2 things. The wind was far enough in the right, looking upwind, i.e. southwest, that the bay, Obelisk Bay, the upwind side of the bay is a pretty steep hill and a bit of catabatic over the hill, and then it would lift off completely. And then the second problem is close enough to the heads that there was about a 3 foot, or a bit less than a 1 metre ground swell that's on the starboard bow of the boats as they go into the mark. So you would have seen the boats bouncing a lot in the head sea and just making each manoeuvre quite a bit more difficult.
Yeah, it was double trouble, wasn't it? There were some boats sort of teabagging to windward, and there were others had too much wind. There were boats on very different jibes, seemed to be pointing in the same direction. And that's what caused the trouble at the bottom for several top boats, including Finport, as we mentioned before. And that was Finport you saw on camera a second ago, doing an intentional capsize. They've obviously got some kind of a rigging issue they want to check while they can, so that's the reason we saw them capsize. And just looking upwind now, we're at the start area right now. You'll get a look around. Hopefully you can have a sense where we are from the camera cap, from the various shots. We are right alongside a large cruise liner, the Radiance of the Seas, looking, well, radiant, Jimmy, not sure I'd call her radiant, looking a little deserted right now, but in the background there's Sydney Harbour Bridge, and we are on the same racecourse, same track as yesterday. The difference is, I'm hoping, Jimmy, this time we'll be able to see the top mark when the gun goes, which yesterday was a struggle.
Yeah, on our way out, they've just added put it in the traditional spot, so we probably won't have over today as such, but same yesterday, but it'll be, it is, I've seen it, I don't know if the bloke's seen it with the sailing, so we'll be on that at the top of course number 4, so it'll be great.
Yeah.
So tight one down.
Jimmy, the wind is a little left of what it was at the start yesterday. So I think probably around 190 perhaps right now. Okay, sorry, Jimmy's not in the conversation. A few little technical issues, hangover from yesterday. But Mark, what we're looking at here right at the start boat, 12 to 14 only.
Yeah, it's soft, isn't it? I mean, you could get away with the small rig here, which you're going to have to because that's what most of the fleet have got. But you'd probably prefer your big rig if you had the choice. But we know a lot can happen. The race start is still in 20 minutes from now. It's 24 minutes past, coming up to 25 minutes past 2 local time here on Sydney Harbour. Quite quiet the harbour compared to normal, but there will be passing traffic. But at the moment, we're still, I think what you said before, Bucko, we're a bit in between 2 rigs. Looking upwind, like up into the CBD, what's your sense about where we'll be at in 10-15 minutes?
Well, we're just on the edge of another little rain squall, and I think it might be a little windier at the start, and then it will fade. As it rains, it fades in this kind of situation. So, and for the viewers, 14 knots is probably, if you want a single point number to consider, 14 knots is where the crossover of the rigs are, perhaps 15, depending on a few things. But so I think we might start a little uprange from where it is now, but then by the bottom of the run, it might be light again, lighter.
Yeah, and we saw yesterday that initially the top mark wasn't in that position it ended up. They did make that decision fairly late in the day. So I think they might do the same again today. I was talking to a couple of the people on the race committee boat earlier on today, and their comment was that they're quite happy to use that L flag again if they need to, but either way around they want to make sure that the first beat is a proper beat. It's not some kind of a starboard tack all the way, because if they leave the buoy up in double bay, well, with the current wind direction, we're looking straight upwind now, right in front of us. I know you're looking at your commentary team. I'm looking directly upwind, and it would be all starboard tack, 90% starboard tack upwind.
But I think we can see the mark in front of the square rigger there, just to the right of the square rigger, up the harbour there.
Yeah, no, I think Jimmy Veery's having a couple of microphone issues, but he's using very good sign language, so I know what he's saying, which is the mark at the moment is still in the traditional spot,
is it? Okay.
Up by Double Harbour. There's another orange buoy, just to make life confusing, up Rushcutters Bay, which is where our top mark was yesterday, but that's not our top mark. But it might change.
But I mean, from the committee boat, if we point at the wind is coming from Rushcutters Bay.
It is.
To the start.
And where they put the mark yesterday would be a perfect place.
Exactly.
So my guess is that might yet happen. There's a bit of room to go. Jimmy, I think you're back live with us. But I think we've covered that little subject, haven't we? As to where the hell the mark is. But yesterday they did change it late, didn't they? And they're not afraid to make a change late, which is for the good of the race.
Yeah, well, I had a good chat with the starters when we were setting up this morning. Obviously, they're there in front of us. I hopped on board with them. They were saying that they're happy to move it around till the 4-minute gun, even like move the line, move the locations of the marks. So, yeah, it's all pretty
dynamic, Jimmy.
It
dynamic.
Well, yesterday
they make it sound very technical, though. The starters, I was sat there just going, "What is going on?" It's not not too much of a brain hammering, but
it's the Peter principle, Jimmy. The work expands to fill the time available.
And you see Honda Marine taking a good close look at the committee boat, checking out what they're doing with the wind machines and their flags, and I think they're probably looking at wind, trying to work out where this top mark is, a bit like everybody else. But right now, the rain that Bucko talked about is not with us, but it is absolutely clear. You don't have to be a weather expert looking at wind to know we're all about to get wet. And when we do get wet, Bucko, we've just got a few beautiful minutes of being broadly warm and dry. When we do get wet, you said the wind's going to drop. Are you expecting a left shift with that, or what are you expecting?
No.
Or no shift? What's your view?
Well, what happened, it just depends which side of the score we're on. It looks as if we're going to be on the left edge looking upwind, and so we would expect the wind to bend to the right somewhat in the squall itself, yeah? On this edge, on the course edge of the squall, and it looks as if half the race course is going to be not in the rain squall.
Yeah.
On the course edge, the wind will be a little right-handed as the squall passes.
And as you say that the committee boat are moving, Jimmy, talk about the dynamic situation. Yesterday was, for anyone who watched it, you may have remembered, it was all a bit hectic and there was a lot of rain at the time. But what we spotted, I think we managed to show you on camera, was that at 4 minutes and about 15 seconds, the committee boat was at one and the same time dropping themselves back with a massive chain dump and also moving the pin.
Yeah, they rotated the whole line, round to the right, which was the right thing to do.
30 degrees, but it was
yeah,
right
30 degrees. But
they
they're just talking about doing a lead boat again. After they reposition this line, they're not happy with where they are, so they're talking about moving.
Jimmy, I think yesterday one thing they would have learned also was that water depth issues aside, where they'd laid the leeward end of the start line was almost in the shipping channel.
Yeah.
And so they've stuck it back into the normal place a little bit more today, closer to the headland. Still clear of the headland, but with far less chance of it getting rammed or damaged by a passing powerboat.
But we're in a pretty busy spot here, aren't we? That's for sure.
Absolutely.
We've got the zoo behind us, and we've got to the hard right of us is the harbour bridge, and to the left of us is the main route to Manly. And every single ferry passes right across this. They cross across our start line, maybe 100 metres to windward, but no more than that. So the starter has also got to make sure he times his start in a gap, and well, that's never easy, is it? There's a certain amount of predictive work and a bit of luck required.
Yeah, well, the other thing too that they said that they were lucky yesterday because it was such a miserable day. There wasn't many charter boats out. They wouldn't normally start us where they started us yesterday, so they were pretty happy with that for the weather in that aspect. But yeah, it was
Bucko. Here comes a little build on the front of the score, Mark. Prepare the raincoats, brother.
Yeah, I think you're right. Look here, let's look at Bird and Bear we're looking at on camera at the moment. They're a little disappointed maybe with their performance yesterday. They never managed to get into that leading group as much as maybe we thought they would do. But that mainsail doesn't look like the newest man I've ever seen. Bucko, maybe it's a rig issue or a speed issue. Getting away from Tom Clout and Cameron McDonald's in the middle of the boat. And the front of the boat is John Walton. I couldn't see him for that. There he's turned around. John Walton, who runs that boat, sailed that boat for a while. So it's a pretty tidy crew. There's nothing wrong with that crew, credentials, that's for sure. And Tom Cloud, of course, himself a JJ champion, sailing in the middle for Gotta Love It 7 back in the day, back when Sevi was a Gotta Love It 7 skipper and helmsman. And no question that Tommy Clout's pretty tidy in this skiff fleet. It's good to have him back in the fleet, actually, Bucker, isn't it? He's out for a while, back in the helm, and he's been doing some moth sailing in the meantime. Good to have him back.
He's a terrific yachtsman, but he did say that they were struggling to get coordinated. So you know, it's the old story. He hasn't sailed all that much with Johnny Walton, so even the best teams do take a while to glue together, and he's experiencing the full joys of that.
And yesterday was a real coordination crew kind of day, wasn't it? Two-sail reaches and strange angles we hadn't seen before, gusts coming out of nowhere. The one thing yesterday you needed above all was just tidy crew work.
Yeah, no, exactly. And
hard to do.
Talking through you know, all of the crews after the race yesterday, to a man, they said it was a pretty tough day.
Yeah. For sure, as we look upwind, and the camera probably won't better show it to you very clearly, but there's an impending sense of doom because it's going to be very wet very soon. Kind of the cloud is right down to the water is the one way of putting it. Another way is to say we're about to get wet with the horizontal rain. But there we go, don't worry. We are here, your intrepid team, to try and bring you the shots and tell you what we see from the water. But if we can't bring you the shots and the audio, it doesn't make much sense. So fingers crossed that our tech hangs on as best it could. I was amazed yesterday that all the connections that matter managed to hang together. We'll see if we can do 2 days in a row.
So, Mark, the polite scientific way to describe this is we're experiencing a 100% humidity event.
It is. You're all right. 100% humidity, cloud to the deck if you come from an aviation perspective. Right. But other way around, a bit of wetness and definitely a bit of a breeze increase. We're just at the beginning of the rain now. A lot more to come. You can look upwind. Well, the camera's showing that pretty well, I think. Depends how much raindrops you're seeing on the screen as you're sat in your comfortable warm sofa at home somewhere. It's not actually cold here, but it is super wet. But what you're seeing up there, it's looking a bit misty and a bit foggy. Well, that's just what it looks like here on Sydney Harbour. Right now, you would not be able to find the top mark without the boat with the L flag on it. You'd be lost. So yet again, I think we're going to have a bit of L flag action.
Yeah, so the front of the score, wind just up to perhaps about 16, 17. But plenty of rain coming, so everybody ragging up.
Here comes the L flag action. There's the race officer, is actually in this rib nearest to us. That's Doug Cameron. Slightly unusual race officer position, but he likes to be on a rib, so he stays mobile, and he leaves the rest of his team on the start boat. And then he's got another boat, which is Steve Quigley with the yellow top. He's an ex-JJ Giltinan champion himself, a very renowned motorboat and yacht designer, but mostly motorboats. He designs a lot of those large multi-hull ferries you see all over the world. His company, and he is the founder of that. And he is going to be the guy proudly with the L flag, like he did yesterday. He found the top mark without any problem, and everybody followed him, and that worked out very nicely. And that's Noddy with him as well, who's himself a JJ Giltinan champion crew. Used to sail with John Winning for many, many, many years. And the third compadre with him is Christophe, who's well-known French photographer, who's doubling up with doing a bit of camera work for us, and is going to be holding the flag or holding something. A wet day for them. But I'm glad wherever you are, you're watching this and you're keeping nice and dry. At the moment was no AP. Race is due to start in 10 minutes from now. Jimmy Bureau is keeping his ear to the VHF to see what the race committee is saying, but there's the wind's kind of gone up a bit here, Bucko, but it's no drama of the wind, is it? It's just a bit miserable for everyone because we've got horizontal, now vertical, wet stuff, but there's nothing wrong with the breeze, perfectly sailable.
They're going to move the top mark is what they'll just jabbering on about. So
Excellent. So that rib zooming off is going to move the top mark. Probably, Jimmy, do you guess where it was yesterday?
Right.
I imagine right back into Rushcutters Bay. But we are going to need the L flag to find it, that is for certain.
we might need it.
You'll be fine. I trust you. No one knows the harbour better than you. If it can be found, I know you'll find it.
Do our best.
There's Finport getting buzzed by some little red spectator crawl little cruise boats. I think you can rent those.
Looks like a
Not
scene
quite-
out of Police Academy 3.
Not quite sure where you'd want to, but if you can rent one, if you want to, and you go around the harbour like that, and I think I want something a bit bigger in Sydney Harbour. There's a lot of large ferries around the place. Anyway, I'm sure they're having some fun. And in the meantime, Finport getting themselves dialed into this race. It's one of the issues in this kind of weather, Bucko, isn't it? You've got to stay in the zone as a race crew. You can't start worrying too much about the weather, the visibility, all that. It's all about going through your procedures, understanding the bias, making sure the setup's good, and getting ready to maybe make a jump on your competitors.
Yeah, and a little harder to sail when it's like this. You know, the wool's all sucked in the sail, so you've got no wool tuft indication of your flow. A bit more intuition needed. Not to say wipers on your eyeballs.
Absolutely. Tech 2 having a little look at they're up by the committee boat. We're very near to them as well. You saw Honda Marine a second ago. So Honda Marine and Tech 2, who ended up in first and third yesterday, they're in close proximity. And of course it was Shaw and Partners, James Doran's boat, who ended up in second. They've done that late spinnaker change, as in corrected what would have been a bit embarrassing, Jimmy, wouldn't it? You're an old
Very
mate of
embarrassing.
Doro's. You'd have had years of Mickey taking if he'd put the wrong kite up.
Oh, that would have been the high ground that I've been looking for all these years, mate. It's,
You'd have been sorted. We're afraid he spotted his error just in the nick of time. So he'll be back competing.
I remember
sure.
years ago I was sailing with Jeremy Sharp in the 18s.
That was an error.
I know that was a big error, but he put the spinnaker on the boat upside down and then made me sail down the harbour so everyone else could have a look at it. With me trimming it upside down, I was just like, this is ridiculous. That was the last day I sailed with Jeremy.
Right.
And that was an unwinding of an error.
Mate, it was a total embarrassment.
So that was just Tech 2 we just were seeing on screen there a second ago, just doing a bit of backing up, quite a delicate bit of boat skills in an 18-foot skiff. But generally, breeze is low phase, Bucko, isn't it, right now? So all the crews are going to be dialing up maximum power, and they've got adjustability this year, haven't they? They can actually make a decent difference to the amount of grunt in the rig.
Yeah, no, they've got ability to back down the lateral rigging, so top stays and cap shrouds.
Yeah.
And, you know, they use the top stays that go to the top of the mast through the cathedral spreaders at the hounds. They use it just to control the amount of span-wise bend, side bend. But the fleet kind of tending towards softer settings for that over the last couple of years as the square tops have come in. Seeing now the dynamics of the range call sort of disappearing. And there's been a little incident here.
Just behind us, we've got someone in the water. There's a bit of a scream and a shout between Noakes Blue and Shaw and Partners, and it looks like there might be a tiller extensions come detached. Hopefully not broken. That'll be a big problem for Noakes Blue, who did so well yesterday, first part of the race, particularly the first beat. They were in first for the last part of the beat. So I'll try and get close to them and find out what the situation is. But port starboard, Shaw and Partners were on starboard, and we're not actually under racing rules, so it's a little bit more of a flexible rule interpretation, but hopefully both boats won't have any damage and they can both make the start. But I think it's the thing we were talking about, Bucko, before, keeping the focus, concentration in these conditions. Yeah. It's so easy just to semi-switch off, but you've got to keep your wits about you all the time.
Well, you know, the not under control flag, Mark, needs to be hoisted sometimes if you know you have a breakage, but...
And it is, and we're under starters orders, bang on time. That is 5 minutes to go. It's 20 to 3 local time on Sunday here in Sydney Harbour on the 14th of March. And Noakes Blue, not the start they wanted. They lost the tiller extension. They've got one back, and there's another incident at the top mark as well. Noakes and SeaTech both getting a little bit transfixed by what was happening on the committee boat and nearly a port starboard. In the end, Noakes get out of there just in the nick of time. Alex Valley on SeaTech having to bail out. But nobody wants an incident. There's no point winning a port starboard at this point of the race. You don't win any real points for that. Both crews doing a good job to avoid each other.
It seems everyone's coming over on port and not keeping a lookout, you know, like it's...
Bit of stress in the fleet, James.
Yeah.
Is that the tension? Is that what's happening? This is a big event. Maybe it's just getting
Well,
to people.
Really
Mark,
not sure.
the other thing is the breeze is hard in the right. You know, as this squall is now, the centre of the squall is now perhaps, you know, over the Harbour Bridge. The breeze as far right as we've seen since we came out. And look at the dynamic, though. Down the harbour, it looks as if there's less pressure, yeah?
4 minutes. And look, the quick update, Yvette on Noakesville has got a replacement tiller extension or the same one, whichever way around. She's back in business.
No, they've got replacement ones on the start boat. They've got spare tiller extensions, spare spinnakers, all kept on board the start boat. So people can go and sort them out prior to a start, but if they break anything on the way.
And luckily, her incident was right by the committee boat, so that was a very fast pit stop. So, and there we have an AP. I think it's all getting a bit frenetic down here, and for one reason or another, probably the breeze. Is that a bit of a shift in there, Bucko?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's as far right as you can anticipate, and it probably will slowly filter back to left.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the committee's about right now about this, but...
Nothing on the radio, but they've moved the top mark right as we predicted. It's over near that other orange one that you found earlier, Bucko.
So we have 2 orange marks just to make it more interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see them. They're off to the right of Clark Island, but luckily we've got the rib with the L flag up, so they will...
Where from the naval board, Jimmy?
To the left.
To the left, yes.
Oh, okay, copy, got him. On the end of the point, yep.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, no, it was quite near the other one.
Yeah, and arguably with that right shift, it wasn't right enough, but we'll wait and see what happens. Anyway, the rain has abated. The breeze has dropped a little bit as well. And after a bit of phony war at the committee boat, a few port and starboards and a bit of screaming and shouting, the net at the end of all that is no one's injured, nobody seems to be damaged, and all 24 starters, I think, will be presenting themselves for the race, but we're under an AP right now. And I'm sure it won't last long. I can see them getting ready to go with the flags.
They're just dropping the start boat back 15 metres because the breeze has swung more right.
There goes the anchor chain flying down.
There's not enough breeze to blow the boat back, though.
It's light, isn't it? We're in a real light spot, so it seems that after the rain squall, there's not a lot.
Yeah, no, as we anticipated, mate. So
Advantage Vintech with the big rig.
Yeah, there we go. So they're going to drop that one back, and we've got, as we said, not very many spectator boats by the standards of a JJ. Again, it's a bit of a grey, wet day. Maybe everybody's happy to stay at home and watch the coverage on TV, on YouTube. I don't blame you if that's what you're doing, or on Facebook. You can watch it
the only
live on
sport
both.
being live at the moment anyway.
Well, you're not far wrong there, Jimmy. An awful lot of sports have got cancelled. It's a bit unique situation. It's an outdoor sport, so the chance of being in close proximity to other people is relatively slim, just from a health COVID-19 perspective. So therefore this race is continuing. All the sailors are very aware of the dangers. The club is very well geared up to look after the sailors' health. There's all sorts of ways to make sure the sailors are clean and healthy as they enter the club, leave the club, etc., etc. So we're doing our best to do the right thing, but we're also hoping to bring you a piece of live sport. There goes the end of the AP. I just noticed the Australian Sail GP boat is out here with Tom Slingsby and some of his muckers, and that's another event that's got cancelled. They've announced that San Francisco is definitely cancelled, and it's hard to see the May event in New York going ahead either, or the one at Cowes Week in August. You'd have to think at least a couple of those events are highly suspect, which is a great shame for Sail GP, but yet again it reminds us we're lucky to have this event, so here we are.
Yeah. So, guys, wind strength now at the committee boat, James. What do you think? 10 knots, yeah?
Not even, Bucko. It's
10-8.
Yeah.
10-8. Wow. So,
the most exciting news I've seen, though, Bucko, is I've just seen Jonathan Whitty with the drone in his hand.
Yes.
Jonathan Whitty is the owner of AeroMedia that brings you all this great production, but also he's a sensational drone pilot. He's probably the best in the business. Couldn't give you a drone picture yesterday. I think we're going to. The drone's in his hand, the lights are flashing. Hopefully she's up in the air, and that will make a big difference to the coverage. We'll see what happens. Anyway, we're back under starters' orders. That is the 5-minute gun for the second time.
Yeah.
Lighter breeze all over. Bucko, just give us your sense of the next 5 minutes. What's going to happen with the weather?
It'll just slowly build back up. So you'd expect that, it'll sort of revert to the mean, which might be 14 perhaps.
Feels soft, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it
feels
soft.
soft.
It's warm, isn't it? It's a little bit warm, and
it's definitely warmer than yesterday. That's
the
for
rain
sure.
is cold. It's about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday, mate.
Yeah, it's a whole different story. A lot of few spectator boats starting to kind of appear out of nowhere now. You might have heard the buzz in the background. That's the noise of the drone. So we're going to give you a decent shot about what is really going on here. And we are close into the land still. The pin end is not that far from Bradley's Head to give you a sense of where we're going. We are going to be heading upwind to the same mark we went to yesterday. And that is straight up into Rushcutters Bay. There's your 4-minute gun. And do you think we're going to be following that rib as Jimmy? The L flag is still going to happen?
Yep, that is the L flag raised. Noddy's holding that. No, because obviously the mark's not in the traditional spot, and we've just still got course number 4 up. So, you know, the blokes will be wanting to know where the top mark is, and they all would have probably seen it on the way out in where it was traditionally laid, and they've now moved it. So the L flag is a great idea.
So, Mark, just looking at this first beat, probably going to pay to go towards the raining cloud, which is still over the CBD on the right-hand side.
Yeah, and we're looking upwind. We might have a chance to give you a shot of that in a second. But looking upwind, it's much clearer to the left, even some blue sky, and it's very heavy grey looking over towards the CBD. So you've got some real strategic choices here, Bucko, haven't you? This is almost like a navigator's beat. This is more about weather interpretation than anything else right now.
Yeah, I think you have to go probably halfway to the right-hand ley line, and then a bit of the funnel out of Rushcutters Bay, and you're just a bit nearer to the stronger wind from the cloud. It looks, if we look to the left-hand side of the course, it appears to be quite a bit lighter.
Yeah, right now we need a hotline to Adrian Cahalan, don't we? This is right up her street. But a local weather activity, nice and close in on Sydney Harbour. We saw yesterday Vet Heritage picking up the mantle of top female 18-foot skiff sailor, ended up 9th in a very demanding day and was in the top 10 all day long. At one point she mentioned to me before she dropped out into the 15s, but they came back strong second half of the race, so great job from them. We're looking for big things from Yvette again today as we're getting close to the 2-minute gun. There you can see the large ferry left of your picture. That ferry is at least as big as that makes it look. Look at the scale compared to a skiff. It's a large piece of real estate, and luckily it won't affect the breeze because it is outside of the breeze zone. It's to leeward, and it's off to the side of the start area as well.
So just looking at the start line, Mark, it looks as if they've got the pin, I think, in pretty much a good spot. There's opportunity all along the line, but the guy that finds the first sort of puff is going to lead to the top mark, one would think.
And yesterday was a big rush for the starboard end. You kind of get a sense it'll be the same again. I'm not sure anyone's going to be too interested in the pin. It's a long line, no question. As you look down there, there's you see all the skiffs lining up. Well, they're all sort of hovering somewhere around the starboard ley line. There's nobody making much of a move down towards the pin. Doesn't surprise me particularly. 1 minute 15 seconds to go. And tidally, Bucko, any tidal issues on the start?
Tide just starting to roll out. Not a big deal on this beat, this first beat, I don't think. Be a factor the second time around.
So 1 minute until the start of race 2.
So just looking at that, Tech 2 and Honda both on the leeward edge here, so pretty conservative, I think. Who else do we like to look up here? Finport towards the top of the line. Shaw and Partners down the pin.
Yeah, Shaw and Partners the most aggressive pin. They've kind of decided they want to own that piece. No one else is going to go near to them, or not with what is left now, 30 seconds. So they've got the pin, whether they wanted it or not. I suspect they did because they made that move early-ish. They're not too far. They're not all the way to the pin, but they're 2/3 of the way down. The rest of the fleet like the look of the middle. Winning group bang in the middle. They'll be wanting a start. There was an accidental gun just went then. 15 seconds to go to the start. And we got Winning Group in the middle, Tech 2 in the middle as well. 2 to leeward of Winning Group. And Honda Marine 1 to windward of Winning Group. So a lot of our top boats are right in the middle of the line. Shaw and Partners hard on the pin. Big bear away at the end to make sure they're not over. Shaw and Partners win the pin for sure. And it's looking a little bit left. Now they've started, Bucko. Yep. You wouldn't mind the pin, would you?
No, exactly. So... But just enough wind for 3 strings, so probably looks like it might be 12 knots of wind down there.
Yeah,
Shaw and Partners.
You can see on the drone picture there's Shaw and Partners already popping out of the left end, looking up towards the other end of the line. What you can't see from there is Finport, Birkenhead Point Marina, and the Bird and Bear all had a bit of a coming together just before the start, and they are all of them very slow off the right end of the line. Notes red, Sean Langman has got the the right end of the line. He's pretty much won that. But generally speaking, the whole fleet look like they are in a big left phase, and you'd probably want to be middle left right now, Bucko.
Yep, and a little puff just come from the right-hand side here. So the guys in the middle and the right, a big gain to them versus the guys right down on the left-hand side. So what you'll see here, for example, Winning Group might now be the leader with Honda.
Yeah, it's interesting. You can probably just pick out on that drone shot, the boats in the middle, they can be a little hard to see, but Honda Marine are just behind and to windward of Winning Group, but taking a lot of gas there, managing somehow to live. They've got the Queenslander, David Heitner's boat, just to windward of them. You'd think they'd want to bail out, but they can't find a lane out of there. So Honda Marine, the winner yesterday, current champion, a little bit boxed in, living in dirty air, but at the moment they don't have an awful lot of alternatives.
Yep, and we see here the guys got their rig set up pretty deep. A little bit more pressure just coming out of the right, and the guys on the left are really hurting now. So I think the Winning Group will lead at the top.
The Honda do find a way out eventually. It took them a while, they were patient, but they've got out of there now. You can see them going across a couple of big ducks. That's about 3-4 boat lengths lost just from the ducks, but they find a clear lane now. They've got no other starboard attackers for now. So Honda Marine will be out to the right, like it or not. But they had to live in dirty air for quite a while. We'll have to see how that affects them. But just to recap, hard left is still Shaw and Partners. They won the pin, but as Bucko said, the breeze seems to be flicking to the right in the middle of the course. We'll see how this plays out.
Oh, and Winning Group nearly in the tide tacking, but they lead, and they're standing towards a puff. So Kitchen Maker and Winning Group in the best wind on the harbour right now. Less wind to the left, and quite good pressure all the way to the right. But the boats on the right are the guys that didn't start well, Mark. So,
yeah, and you could see, I think you can see the shot, you can see Tech 2 carry on starboard, the left of your picture, and just to the right of them is Shaw and Partners, who, having won the pin, unfortunately, it didn't end up to be a good thing to win. It went light out there, and it kept going left, and then unfortunately it lifted at the end, as can happen. So I think, as you called it, Bucko, the leader on the water right now is Winning Group, closely followed by Kitchen Maker. And the guys in the hard left now coming back onto port. That's Tech 2, Vintech, Shaw and Partners, not looking that flash as we speak. Just a lack of wind pressure out there, Bucko.
yeah, no, but Tech 2's going to still be about fifth at the top, I think.
Yeah,
So they, for them that's okay,
You're right, that is. We're about halfway up this first beat, so pretty short, actually more than halfway up. We're nearly 2/3 of the way up, so pretty short beat. And remember, after this is going to be that long downwind run. It's going to be pretty VMG-ish all the way down the other end of the harbour. A long, long way to go in this race, but in this very early stages, very tricky beat. Winning Group started in the middle. It wasn't an uber glamour start, but it was pretty solid, but they just managed to pop out, gave their friends Honda Marine plenty of dirty air, closed the lane out for them, and that's probably the single thing they're most pleased about here, not just leading, but actually making life very tough for our series leader, Honda Marine.
Yeah, there'll be an element of that, no doubt at all. But just looking now, the guys in the left are hurting, and breeze gone back to the right a little bit where we are at the windward mark as we get nearer to the cloud. So it's probably right to say that if you got halfway right, as I suggested, you probably would have come out okay. Noakes Group's going to lead here, Mark.
Yeah, we've got Noakes Red coming out of the hard right, who currently in a right shift. You maybe remember yesterday, Noakes Red also led at the top mark. So 2 great beats from Sean Langman in a row. Honda Marine coming out of that right side, not looking too bad on this shift. But let's see what happens. Noakes and Winning Group had a bit of a coming together yesterday at the top mark on the first race. Let's see if we're going to get a bit of repeat action. This time Winning Group tack a long way shy, and no issue there whatsoever, keeping well clear. And we'll have to see what happens on this shift as we approach the lay line. Winning Group, I'm not sure Winning Group are going to lay from there, but they're a little optimistic, I think. This is going to be a skinny one.
They're short.
Yeah, they look skinny on the lay, which means they don't have a lot of options coming back. But I think Noakes Red, you can see Noakes Red as well. I'm not sure they're going to lay. Maybe they will. This could...
the body language on Noakes Red says they're laying, and Winning Group thinking they can squeeze to it.
I think Winning Group, if Noakes can get to it, I think Winning can. But look at that. Noakes put the bow down, put the throttle down. What's going to happen here? This is tricky, Bucko, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
Tough for Winning Group. Winning Group.
Tough for Winning Group.
Not a lot of options. There's another starboard attacker coming along soon. Might be the time for a double tack. Sebi doing all he can to sail in high mode. I think once the dirty air of Noakes goes through, he's going to squeeze his way through. And that'll be a good job. Yeah. Good job by all 3 crew. Probably he really wished he'd tacked about a boat length later. But in the end, he's got away with it. So first round at the top mark is Noakes Red, Sean Langman. Second round, Winning Group. And third, Kitchen Maker, having a much better day today. They were a little bit off the map yesterday, but that's a great first beat from the Kitchen Maker. And Honda Marine, who'd have guessed it, came out of the right. And they've managed to pick a great ley line. And they're going to go round in fourth position. Plants is online, nipping in with a nice little port approach. No problems there. Tacked clear of David Hickner from Queensland. Great job from these guys. They don't get nearly as much time in sailing a skiff, but top performance from them. And then it's John Winning on Yandu. He'll be excited with that performance. He's well inside the top 10. Vintech, the only boat with a big rig. They won't be unhappy with that, Bucko, will they?
No, good call from them, I'd say, looking at this long run now. And Tech 2 struggled there in the end, so Shaw and Partners even caught up to Tech 2, so not sure what happened there. Shaw and Partners well behind them, you know, 2/3 way up the beat.
It's a bit light and ugly, I mean, partly because all these boats are on small rigs, so when it's definitely a big rig day, and the whole fleet coming together all at once at this top mark. Tech 2 in all sorts of trouble at that mark. They seem to sort of tacked on the mark. Not sure if they're on port or starboard. Sea-Tech, sorry. Yeah, Ginger's going to have to sort that one out. He's just going to come back to cause a huge issue with URM. He's just put his bow straight through the side of URM. That wouldn't make him any friends with Marcus Ashley Jones. But anyway, it's a bit of a muddle at the top mark. Finport, after their awful start, they're only just going round now. Sea-Tech finally get round that top mark. But a bit of a muddle, I must say. Back at the top of the fleet, the leading boats are long, long gone. And remember, we saw Sean Langman on Noakes Red approaching on a great starboard ley line, and Winning Group managing somehow to get around a buoy that they had very little right to. But good job from them.
Sean Langman had a broken rudder yesterday, so they spent, him and Brett Van Munster spent the whole night repairing the back of the Noakes boat. So this will be just reward if they go on with it.
Yeah, pretty tough for Sean yesterday. He broke the rudder on the last two-sail ridge. And it's a big job to fix.
Yeah.
So Noakes leads. They've escaped on the face of a puff down the run. They've got a good 40-second buffer to Winning Group.
It's interesting, Bucko, the Honda Marine did a jive set, I think, again, like they did yesterday. Doesn't look, at this point, that flash. They are well to leeward. Well, they're not on screen right now, but it's to bring you up to date with our other leaders. Honda Marine jibe set away. They are a long, long way to leeward. They're only just going to get round Bradley's, if at all. And at this point, I'm not sure that's paid off for them.
Well, I mean, in principle, the best win should be just at Bradley's, you know, more or less.
So if they can lay Bradley's, they might be okay. Well, Winning Group have jive back towards them. You just saw them at the top of your picture a second ago. They're just the other side of Yandu. Just look through their spinnaker. There they are. There's Winning Group approaching Bradley's on port, and they will jibe a long way ahead and bang on Honda Marine's line. So Winning Group, following Bucker's advice, getting hard into Bradley's. In the meantime, our leader, Sean Langman, right out the front. He is, well, as I said, that he's just rolling into a jibe now. So Sean is in the middle of the harbour, but now jibed onto port, going back over to the left side. And well, remember yesterday, the big advantage of being on the left downwind, all the action, all the overtaking came from boats hugging that northern shore.
Yeah, it was a very unusual thing to happen, but that's where they all made the gains. Like, remember Tech 2 was buried yesterday and they went down there. I think they rounded the first mark in 9th or something like that. And then they ended up in the lead group. So will the same thing happen today? We'll find out.
Winning Group back on starboard now. They're just going to they'll be seeing Sean Langman crossing them on port. Sean's still got a solid 20-second or so, maybe 30-second lead. So Sean will be still in first. Winning Group, you'll see Sean appearing in a second off his bow. There they are. So that's our 1-2. You can see that quite clearly. We're about halfway down the harbour. Half of this run has played out so far. Looking back, the next few boats on this side of the harbour, Kitchen Maker and Honda Marine, and back on the other, and Shaw and Partners actually on this side as well. Again, another 30 seconds back. And on the other side of the harbour, well, it's John Winning on Yandu. There is Appliances Online. Vintech with, of course, the big rig, using that to advantage, running right down the middle of the harbour. And above them I can see Smeg. And finally, I get to Tech 2. Remember, they had a pretty poor start, Tech 2, yesterday, but they made a very good impression on this run by picking the left side of the run, looking as you look downwind. And Tech 2 went from about 10th, 11th, 12th to second or third in what felt like no time at all. There's the big rig of Vintech on screen now. And looking up to the right, you'll see the red kite of Tech 2. All these boats are off to the right-hand side of the harbour looking downwind. But as I look up there, Bucko, plenty of puffs, a bit more pressure coming.
Yeah,
so there's
mate.
more overtaking coming our way here.
So here's what's happening here, Mark, now. Breeze, re-exerting himself back to the south-southwest and a little more pressure. So this should be a gain to the guys who've gone on starboard. And probably 14 knots of wind down the middle of the river now.
And Honda Marine lit up. We're watching them right now. Honda Marine, just to give you a sense where they are broadly in the middle of the harbour. We might see them jibing soon. Yep, there they go, just rolling into a jibe now. So we've got on the left, we've got our leader Noakes, we've got Winning Group, Honda Marine, Appliances Online, all out to the left-hand side. Shaw and Partners at the back of that group, but not too far away. And the group on the other side is led by John Winning on Yandu, who's the most over on that side, with Vintech and Royal Oak and Smeg, and finally Tech 2. A big split there, Bucker, but we've got some boats on the full hard left, and we've got boats like Tech 2 right on Shark Island on the full hard right.
Yep, well, able to use the whole harbour and a bit of movement in the wind, but looks as if it's pretty even across the track now, the breeze, actually. It's a long run though, Mark, isn't it? With the windward mark a little further up, this is probably 2.7 miles or thereabouts from the top mark.
Pretty quiet harbour again, not quite as deserted as yesterday, but compared to a normal Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, 2 minutes past 3 local time here, it's super quiet.
Awesome.
It's a great racetrack.
Awesome.
So off in the hard left-hand corner, as you look downwind, as you're watching now, Honda Marine sailing towards Winning Group, and off on the left-hand side as well, but ahead of both of them is our leader, Noakes Red and Sean Langman. This looks like the top three, but it depends what comes out of the other side, because there are boats like Kitchen Maker and Vintech and Tech 2 as well. They are so far hard right, it's impossible to judge what will happen as they come together.
So just looking up now, you see Yandu coming down on port, who's probably fourth, I think. Kitchen Maker and Vintech still on starboard. Got a header to get down past Nielsen Park, which tells you something, Mark. Kitchen Maker probably not too far out of it either. A long way away from us, but
what I've noticed as well is that there's a lot of going on this race course, so we are going to have to talk about the odd boat not on screen just to bring you up to date with everything. But we've got Shaw and Partners, who were well and truly on the left. They've crossed the harbour, gone all the way to the other side. Haven't done too badly out of this. But Tech 2 went super hard right, like almost into Rose Bay. Does not look like it's paid for them. It's not really what we're used to, is it? With Jack McCartney, he doesn't normally push the edges. He just sails down the middle and lets the boat speed do the talking. Well, I just wonder whether Tech 2 is slightly feeling the pressure early doors here. They didn't have the best first beat. Run hasn't quite gone their way. We're going to see what they're made of here. Have they got the metal, the speed to hold it all together? And they're off camera.
So how about that? Kitchen Maker's second, Vintech's third, Winning Group back to fourth.
Yeah, you're spot on, Bucko. As you said, you like the look of them off Nielsen. They got a letdown, didn't they, on starboard jibe? They were patient. They waited to the jibe onto port, and here they are. You can see Meg is the boat, a few boats back after them, but right in front of us now, we're watching Kitchen Maker on port. If they can get across something, they probably will. Vintech won't cross, though. Both trying to cross Winning Group.
No, and Kitchen Maker's going to jibe on their air. Vintech also jibing. Interesting.
I'm surprised. So you thought you'd have crossed if you could there, wouldn't you? Anyway, you're watching Vintech now with Watson's Bay in the background, just tacking onto starboard. To the left of them, well, there's the shot showing it for you beautifully. Kitchen Maker followed by Winning Group. We still have our leader launched out in front of us, Sean Langman's Noakes Red, just actually slightly stretching her lead as she goes down here. And yesterday the big story was everybody got the ley line wrong, albeit, do you think today, Buckle, they'll want to avoid being near those cliffs and intentionally come in on a big port lay? Yeah. What would you do?
The breeze is a bit more sympathetic today. Shawnee's at it on the port jibe ley line. And the seaway's not what it was yesterday either, Mark. You know, the gale force winds offshore yesterday that brought up the swell. The harbour's pretty flat today, so not too difficult. Sean looks like he's just going to do a conventional one and in kind of approach.
Yeah, and back at the lead, Sean Langman's not a million miles away from that bottom mark. He's probably only another minute and a half, 2 minutes sailing. He has got a substantial lead if he can sort out the ley line. The boat's battling on screen right now for second, third and fourth. Well, look how close that battle is. Vintech soaking down with her big rig, using that to advantage. Kitchen Maker keeping it tight. Winning Group trying to control all three of them. And she finally drives away and lets go of that control position. And hopefully she's picked the right ley line. Bit of traffic they're both going to have to cross. But it is Sean Langman in the lead by a decent amount. Those three boats battling for 2, 3, 4. Honda Marine just close behind those three boats. And looking further back, well, Smeg, I can see a Plancer's online. And Tech 2 have now gone from hard right all the way back to hard left. And they are struggling to make an impression on this leading group. I mean, a long, long way to go. But at the moment, Tech 2 has a lot of work to do to get back into the leading pack.
So, Noakes group here, Shawnee Langman and the boys got 2 more jibes, so they didn't think they could get there. But they've been pretty good, and you know, today might be a good day for them. Low range, fairly light crew weight, about 235 kilos. And you know, they were there and thereabouts yesterday all day, so good to see them having a shot at the lead here.
Yeah, they're just trying to find that lay. It's a tough lay to pick. I think it's one of those ones you want to come in hot and let the boat handling sort out the problem at the end. You don't want to get caught anywhere near those cliffs. And I think that's pretty much what they've done. They're coming in pretty fast here. And they're going to they'll drop early. They've got plenty of lead. The moment they're looking like they're 45 seconds to a minute clear of the second place boat. Might even be a bigger delta. Well, that was a conservative drop, Bucko, wasn't it? That might have been too early.
Hyper conservative, really. But anyway, that's what they decided to do.
Yeah.
And the memories of yesterday would live in your mind, you know.
They do. We have some
it is a bit bumpy and it's a little bit windy. It's
yeah.
Not smooth water by any stretch.
I think psychological damage was done to the fleet here yesterday, as you said, Bucko. They can't unremember it.
No. That's tidy enough.
There you go, Sean Langman, Noakes Red. She is in first place at the bottom mark for the first time. And the next boat, Winning Group, played this run very nicely. At the end, they were getting caught a little bit by Kitchen Maker and Vintech, but they managed to get into a nice control position on that long starboard jibe, and they jibed away at just the right moment.
So they'll be doing a jibe drop, Mark.
Yeah, that'll be in early. Again, nice and conservative. They, too, have some of the scars of yesterday as well. On probably Sam Newton's mind, as one of his drops wasn't his best, but that's very tidy, and actually a nice little lay they picked there, so they come in not too slow, 2 sailing in, and a solid second. The delta between first and second, what's that, Bucko? 40?
45, yeah.
40, we'll call it 45, so there's your 1-2 Winning Group, all on small rigs, these boats, remember, apart from Vintech, who it's no big surprise to see Vintech near the front. They've been sailing really well the last couple of weekends, but certainly it's doing them no harm at all to have the big rig up. But they are going to have to give water to Kitchen Maker and probably to Honda Marine as well. Kitchen Maker go round next in third. Honda goes round, a bit of a call for water rights. Kitchen Maker going wide, gives Honda Marine room on the inside. So in the end, it's kind of an equal third between Honda Marine and Kitchen Maker, and then it's Vintech and a decent gap back. It looks like we've got
Queenslander.
That's David Hittner, isn't it? The current International 14 Aussie champion, sailing pretty nicely today. He'll be thrilled with that. Top 10 is probably about as good as he's expecting, and he's right in the top 10 here, race 2. Great job. And then it's Shaw and Partners, second place yesterday.
Yandu.
With Yandu and Smeg, of course, on the inside. We'll see how that all plays out. And
this morning when I went and picked up the camera cat off from Woody's place, he actually come running down the dock. So, and I said, if you end up in the top 10, you know what you've got to do every day now, don't you, Woody? And he goes, the first time I've run since I had my new knees. So Yandu getting the boat handling sorted. We'll need a drop, and in comes John Winning, followed by Smeg, followed by Shaw and Partners, and then Noakes Blue Yvette having another good day, just about in the top 10. See if she can progress from there, and behind her it's Royal Oak and then Tech 2. So Tech 2 are outside the top 10. The fleet's pretty bunched up, this part of it. Boats 1 and 2 do look a little bit launched and gone, but the rest of the fleet, not much between them all. And we'll see Tech 2 deciding to jibe onto a spinnaker to give them a bit of a fast forward. I don't think they're going to get any rights on Noakes Blue, so they'll have to go around the outside.
No, they'll be around the inside there, Mark. And the breeze here now down to about 10 knots. So
yeah, it's light down here, isn't it? Very light. So Tech 2 just slowing up and just taking the inside line. Not a bad manoeuvre.
No. And it's warming up, which tells you that the breeze is probably going to soften unless we get another rain score. Looking up, there's a rain score gone past out to sea. Then playing havoc with the direction, I think, in a micro sort of way. Looking up window from us now, it's clearer sky.
And just after all, Oak, just to bring everybody up to date with our positions, that's Appliances Online, our next round. You've seen them there outside, and there's Rag and Famish. It's directly behind, there's Bird and Bear, followed by Ilve, today's race sponsor. And then it's Maersk Line from New Zealand, coming in on a super hot port lay. And behind them, looks like another of the Queensland boats. And URM, Marcus Ashley Jones, not starring today at all. Then Dal Zotto, Birkenhead Point Marina, SeaTech, who had that horror show up at the top mark, and then Finport, a boat you'd have thought on a day like today, Bucko, we'd be imagining Finport to be right in the chocolates.
Yeah, but they started horribly in irons when the gun went, and pretty hard work this track, I think. So, and probably not enough wind for them to get up through the fleet today, I don't think. A little bit more pressure coming down the middle of the course now, but still a fair way away from full pressure, you know, sort of 2 strings for the small rig. So you might see Vintech make some yards up this beat.
Yeah, I think you're right. Having said that, there is a little bit more breeze where we are right now. So right now we're right into little rig range. You'll be fine.
But very spotty, Mark. The hot water and cooler air.
Yeah, it's a join the dots kind of day, isn't it, in terms of finding the pressure?
A thick boundary layer problem. And looking up the track, keelboat race on the left-hand side of our track here, looks like the breeze is turning left with a little squall, which is coming onto the land at South Head. So the left side's going to pay here, I think.
Well, the story out of our overall series leaders, we already raced 2, but we already, of course, have some results from yesterday. We got Honda Marine right in the thick of this, that's for sure. We've got Shaw and Partners making a decent recovery, and we've got Tech 2 as well, decided to go around that bottom mark, and she tacked away onto port. So she's the right-hand side of the beat at this early stage, so trying to create a bit of leverage there. Smeg had a decent day yesterday as well. They are pretty much in the middle of this beat. But our leader at the moment continues to be Noakes, followed by Winning Group, Kitchen Maker, Honda Marine. There's not a lot between any of those top 4 boats. And of course Vintech just crossing our screen there with the big rig, looking pretty competitive, certainly in all the light spots, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're looking a little bit underdone on the trim department, unfortunately, but...
And there's Kitchen Maker in a light spot, having to tack a little bit for a spectator boat who's about to give them a world of trouble.
And you can see they're just really struggling to get rolling out of the tack.
Really struggling, and there was a bit of a hole in the breeze, wasn't it? Unfortunately, that wasn't the place to tack. Trying to wiggle and get this boat going. Bit of frustration on board. Having a much better day today than they did yesterday, that's for sure. There we go. Here the breeze is clearing, and it's all going to feel good again. But you can see off the bow, there's our leaders. On the left of your screen is Sean Langman on starboard, crossing everyone. And then it's nice and close between Winning Group and Honda Marine. Winning Group put a friendly tack right on the face of Honda Marine.
Friendly, Mark?
Well, you know, sort of. At this point in the race, it's friendly-ish.
A love tap.
A bit of a love tap. You can see boats 2 and 3. Honda Marine and Winning Group just giving themselves a bit of a tuning test. As Sean Langman leads in the middle of your shot now, and just to leeward there, you see all 3 boats captured beautifully. Nice work by our director. All 3 boats with a cruising boat, a couple of cruising boats just coming in to give a bit of dirty air. That's how close they are. So we've got Winning Group 1 boat length forward, half a boat length to leeward, and we're just going to see if Honda Marine can get that high lane on starboard like they did yesterday. Well,
Honda's
too close
tacking.
for comfort.
Honda Marine set up pretty deep there. The jib banged all the way in, and Sevi would have enjoyed that, I think.
And Winning Group deciding to follow them as well. In the meantime, Noakes, our leader, managing to get a bit of height on a cruising boat. not any great surprise. I think the cruising boat hopefully is being helpful and getting out of the way.
No, I think that guy's racing, Mark. I think he's a
Oh, is he? Okay.
Manly Yacht Club race, I think.
He's got a bit of a low mode, I think you'd say.
Yeah.
The J, whatever that is, a J something or other, he's got a low mode, and Sean Langman luckily has got a high mode. So the leader of race 2, Sean Langman, he split pretty big time from the two guys behind him. He's well and truly into the hard left as he sets up for attack. The boats you're looking at are in second and third. That's Winning Group and Honda Marine. But
well, Shawnee, I think, has gone the right way. I think there's enough current now that on this beat that you want to get into the left edge here. Plenty of river in the middle now, and be interesting to see how Tech 2 comes out of this, because he, I think, will sail all the way to the left-hand side here, Mark. And I think you might find he's made some impression here.
I think you're probably right. It's very hard to get any one camera angle to show you all things going on because there's boats spread all over the harbour here. But just to summarise, if we can, the leader is the boat you're looking at right now, which is Sean Langman. He's to the left, not hard left, but left of this beat. Out of our leaders. The middle is Winning Group, and just to the right, having just tacked, is Honda Marine. And then if we look back to the rest of the boats we want to follow, we've got Shaw and Partners and Tech 2 heading off to the left. Kitchen Maker's still in this. Vintech well and truly in it, with a big rig working nicely. They're heading off to the left as well. But as the boats approach Nielsen and approach Shark Island, they have to come together. The geography forces them together. When they get to that point, we'll get real clarity on how this is playing out for them.
So we're just near Honda on the camera boat now, and in the middle of a good little puff, 12 to 14 knots. So back up to comfortable 3 strings, full riding moment. And looking upwind, probably going to build a little more in the next 20 minutes.
And are you, Jim, are you surprised by the close attention that Winning Group is paying to Honda Marine at this early stage of the race or regatta?
No, not at all. Like, we know how much of a threat the Honda guys are. They are the current JJ champions. So, I think Sevy's doing the right thing in showing the respect that that is deserved there, and not making life easy for Honda to get through them. It's 101 in sailing. I know it's early in the race, but you got to give every opportunity you can. Got a lamp on them and try and slow them down, because as we seen yesterday when they got in front of Shaw and Partners, they just extended and went on to win it. So,
but I think, Mark, the other thing that Sevy likes to do is to get alongside just to check in on his speed.
Yeah, why not? Good point.
And because Honda's been dominant, and as I said, I think they would have got confidence out of yesterday, the Winning Group that is, and they've just checked in again and they've come out okay, haven't they? And now they've let him go. So Sev's, taken them to the left-hand edge up here, which probably should, be the favoured side. Rain squall out to the left for the fleet. These guys sailing in a little bit more adverse current than the guys further up near the shore at Nielsen Park. So we'll see. But these guys certainly aren't slow, are they? And comfortable 3 strings now. Boat looking pretty good at a trademark windward heel. Jib banged in pretty solid. Why they go high. Rig looks nice though.
And Winning Group in the meantime had tapped back onto port, and now they've tapped back again onto starboard. I think they had a cruising boat too much on their air, so they've done a double tack when they probably didn't really want to. That was just off camera for a while. You're seeing Sean Langman, he's leading into Nielsen. That's Nielsen Beach right in front of him. Just a leeward of him on starboard is the Winning Group, but Sean Langman still looks to be leading, and Honda Marine doing what we saw them do all last year, happy to go a completely different way if they're comfortable in the direction they were going. So Honda Marine are in the hard right, the boat you're looking at is in the hard left, and not that far behind them is Winning Group, and then in the same vicinity we've got Vintech staying fully competitive with this group. John Winning on Yandu and Kitchen Maker joining the fight a little bit as well. Great performance from John Winning. And keeping my eyes on where I got Smeg in my eye line as well, just behind with that group too. So anyway, Honda Marine have had enough of living in the hard right on the edge, and they're going to go across and see what happens, see when we bring all the boats together. We'll see where they are at. But at this point in time, looks like they're done. Certainly not badly out here, but it depends on the next shift bucker, doesn't it? We know how patchy and shifty it gets as we approach Shark Island here.
Yeah, but the pressure's built back in, and I would say it's just gone back to the right a little bit. So Honda Marine actually has made a gain out here from a, you know, quite substantial, you know, probably 10, a bit more than 10 degree shift. Noakes is still lead, but I think Honda Marine might have got in front of Winning Group.
Yeah, you can see on the shot, the boat to the right, top of the picture, that is Honda Marine coming out from on starboard tack as Honda Marine just crosses local Finn fleet, out doing a bit of training here in Sydney Harbour. But Noakes have kept the lead. Honda maybe a little bit closer here. Certainly no loss out here, but it looks like Honda have made a decent gain on Winning Group. The shift stays where it is right now. Honda Marine are clear ahead of Winning Group in third, so that will be a position change.
Yeah, so the breeze probably in that puff now, around back to about 200. So, you know, south-southwest, getting towards southwest, you know.
Yeah, that little double tack of Winning Group didn't help their cause at all. And in the end, Honda have found a bit of variety and a bit of extra pressure out here as well. So there won't be a big difference between Honda Marine and Winning Group, but I know that Winning Group, you can just see in the back of left of your picture there, just decided there's no way they're going to get anywhere near Honda, so they pop a tack in back into the shore, see if they can find something off that left edge.
Seb would be kicking himself for letting him go, you know, like
It's
lapped
funny,
on
isn't
him
it?
enough, and then
what you were saying, Jimmy, before, that no harm in staying close to your oppo, and then having forced him away to what he thought was the unfavoured side, it just didn't play out that way. It does happen.
happens all the time, and
We've all done that.
It's a simple sport for simple blokes, Jimmy, isn't it? Let's get realistic about it.
Is true. Look, the boat that I'm seeing coming through the fleet with a real sense of urgency is John Winning on Yandu. John Winning is up into the top 5 now, having a fantastic beat. They've clearly got plenty of speed.
he'll be out running every morning if that's the case, top 5.
And Tech 2 are getting into this group here, Bucko. I know we haven't covered them much on this particular leg. We're just concentrating on the 2 or 3 at the front. But Tech 2 are bit by bit coming in to this leading pack. They're probably well inside the top 10 now, and we'll see what happens at the next mark. Remember, it's a turning mark up by Shark Island, then it's a Bearaway 2-sail reach after that. That gives us a real sense of where we're at with the deltas between the boats. But it still looks like at the front of the fleet that Sean Langman looking and feeling comfortable leading race 2 of the JJ. In second position, it now looks like it's Honda Marine, Winning Group, trying to get back into this Winning Group, charging around the left-hand shore. You can see in the distance there, just off the bow of Noakes, there's Winning Group right off the shore, looking, hoping, praying for a left-hand shift to come over on. Honda Marine don't look pretty comfortable there. I'm between Noakes and Winning. And then after them, it's Vintech. Yandu have now overtaken Vintech. Maybe that big rig's a bit of an issue now, Bucko, for Vintech.
Yeah, it'd be a bit flappy now on the Vintech. But the Tech 2's up to 5th, I think, Mark.
I think you're right. Tech 2 up to 5th. Smeg coming into this group. Kitchen Maker maybe find the pace just a click too hot to handle. But we're going to see how this all plays out. In about 2 minutes, 3 minutes time, they'll be going round the top mark at Shark Island, and we'll know exactly where they stand. But at the moment, looking good for Noakes fans, for Sean Langman fans. There's plenty of those around Sydney and all around the world. He's setting a fantastic race, great start. He's looked untroubled all the way around the racetrack so far. Particularly an impressive run, I thought, Bucko. He seemed to have a plan, and he stuck to it, executed it beautifully.
No, I mean, like we've said, when they're at full strength with Ed Powys and Nathan Edwards in the boat, they've been pretty good. And interesting, Mark, what we see, it's now good mid-range little rig again. The breeze reverted to the mean after all the rain's gone away. These guys, 235 kilos. Honda Marine probably 245, 250, and the heaviest crew, Winning Group, is in third. So these are two quite, relatively speaking, quite light crews, and Noakes is doing a good job of maintaining the buffer, I think.
Yeah, it looks like they found the ley line. All the boats that approached this ley yesterday from too far out on the port ley fell into trouble, and just behind them, the news is Honda Marine have crossed Winning Group by, well, a solid 10 boat lengths. So it's all played out nicely for Honda Marine on this beat. Winning Group letting go of the control they had, and they'll be regretting that, but long way to go yet. But
so
now,
Mark, this next leg is going to be a 2-sail again, and it will be interesting to see if Noakes has got the goods. Breeze up here now where we are, just on the windward side of Noakes, up to perhaps 16 again. So breeze back to 200 compass and about 16 true. Noakes attacking, making life easy for themselves. Too little tacks.
It is a little bit, but it seems yesterday the boats that approached with the little short starboard lay seemed to do the best.
Yeah.
For whatever was going on, there was a consistent pattern, and I think Sean spotted that. Great tack, by the way, from Noakes Red there. Absolutely fantastic tack. And Noakes were going to go around this mark in first position, and Honda Marine looked like they got second place tied up. Honda might lay from where they are. We'll wait and see. That it's going to be winning group who've got at least one more starboard tack to do.
Yeah,
and
I think Honda's there easy, mate.
Yeah, Honda looking good. That'll be nice for them. Sean just gets it round that top mark. A little bit of extra heel.
A bit short, actually.
As you said, we're about to see the two sail reaching skills of all this fleet. Yesterday, this two sail leg was virtually upwind. There was very little bear away, but today it's right in that danger zone. It's a proper bear away where the true wind angle just keeps changing every time you put the bow up or down. You need vast amounts of main sheet. There they go. They're struggling. They're going to have to get into a rhythm. Second round at the top mark. What's that delta? 30, 35 seconds or so. Honda Marine go around in second place with terrific beat by David McDermott, Matt Stephen and Brad Collins on the Honda Marine from New Zealand, reigning champions, the winners yesterday. And out in front of them, Bucko, what's going on with Sean? He's committed to a kite, isn't he?
They had a tea bag and they've gone straight to the shirt. I'm not sure that's the right answer.
I'm not sure either. We'll see. He sailed so well so far, but you'd have thought a two-sail reach would be the way to start this leg. Anyway, we'll get up to them in a second. In third place, winning group. And they've given up one spot to Honda Marine. And look at John Winning. He's come right into this group. Fantastic upwind by John Winning on Yandu. Terrific performance from him. It's been a while since we've seen him at the front. Sailing today with Mike Canini and Fang Warren. Well, he's been changing his crew all season. Maybe he's found the magic button, Jimmy. They're certainly, they're going to get a bit of a boat handling test here with a two-sail reach as well, aren't they?
Yeah, well, Fang's been sailing with Davey O'Connor on the 49ers. They had a very successful campaign there. As you can see in the background of our shot, might be tears for Sean coming up with that pylon.
Just looking out in front, Bucko. They got a bit of trouble with Noakes, haven't they?
In all more strife than early settlers, they've got to pull it off. I think. I don't know what they're thinking. You know, Honda Marine's nearly on a win.
Yeah, just basically that was just an error. I don't watch what happened. They got a bit too excited with the lead. Who knows what happened, but bad decision to go with the kite. That was always looking iffy. And Honda Marine, as a bit they did yesterday, just keep sailing and let people make mistakes around them. So Honda Marine end up almost by default, you could say, in first place. And Sean's going to needs to get his head back into this game nice and fast before he loses another place, because winning group are not going to hang around waiting for him. And John Winning as well alongside him on Yandu. He's getting a bit of a taste for being at the front of this fleet. He's going to be in fast forward mode as well.
Just watch this as the puff gets them. Wow, off we go.
And the boats behind them, just to bring you up to date, that's your first four in front of you. Just behind us, we'll get a shot on them in a second, while the Smeg and Tech 2 have made a fantastic recovery. They are just two boats back from this group, in sixth already. Vintech struggling a bit with the bigger rig. And then Kitchen Maker are next back. Royal Oak, Plants is online, and David Hittner on the Queensland boat still in this group. Great job from him. And we'll bring you up to date with the rest of the boats as and when we can. Back to our leaders. Bucko, bit of a brain fade from Sean there.
Yep. And, you know, as we always say, one thing to get to the lead, you've got to know how to lead. They perhaps haven't had enough practice at leading, you know?
Yeah,
one of those sort of things.
I think he might come back, because I think he's quick. As you said,
no doubt he's quick.
He's got a great crew. I think he's far from over in this race. Just one big error doesn't mean he can't come back. Let's hope he does. Great competitor, Sean. He's not going to be doing JJ's for the rest of his life. He might just have, two or three super competitive ones left in him, and this is one of his chances. Get his name on the trophy.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw when he was doing the bear away mark, his old legs weren't quite operating at the right speed, you know.
And know how he feels.
Yeah.
So in first position, there's the great shot, there's the CBD, Sydney Harbour Bridge in the background. Our leader, as we go through a bit of ferry boat wake, is Honda Marine, and in second position, it's Winning Group and Sean Langman on Noakes in pretty much a tie for second.
So I'll tell you what here, Winning Group's actually gained a little on Honda here somehow. I don't know how, but they have gained a little.
Some good reaching technique, I think. Those three haven't sailed much together, but individually they've got plenty of skiff skills. And so's John Winning on Yandu, the next boat back. You're going to see them off the left of your shot very soon, is also catching up to our leader. So Honda Marine may be running into the worst of that wake or possibly a light spot. And as I look further back over my shoulder, we'll hopefully get a drone shot of that in a second. Tech 2 are storming down this Tuso reach, absolutely flat chat. They've gone past Vintech, they've gone past Smeg, and Tech 2 are going to be in with this leading group any second now. Bucko, if you're going to win this championship, you've got to have the ability to recover. Tech 2 are giving us a bit of an exhibition right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, they are good at Tuso reaching. So, and equally, you know, the point we made, the guy that leads the race has to make the decisions. Everybody else gets a second guess. Leading the race isn't as easy as it sometimes looks, you know. But, you know, for Tech 2, you know, their ambition for today really is just to be on the podium. You know, top three if they can. Plenty of racing to go. We're only one lap. We're not at half distance yet. You know?
Well, we are, but the big but, of course, if Honda Marine do what they did last year, keep putting bullets in, all of a sudden fourths and fifths aren't much use to you.
No, that is dead right. But
you've got to be alongside them. Worst case, one back.
As we noted, Mark, you know, this is the windy end of the series by the look of the weather that appears likely for the rest of the week, and the rest of the races may well be big rig.
So first round the bottom mark for the first time down by the big cruise ship Radiance of the Seas, back where we started, was Honda Marine. About a 20-second lead back to winning group, one boat length behind them, Noakes Red, and only 2 or 3 boat lengths behind them, Yandu in great shape, Yandu in fourth. In fifth, it's going to be a bit of a battle, but it looks like Tech 2, one of the few to actually go to a spinnaker here. They got caught a little bit high, but they sailed pretty nicely. They're popping up a kite just to add to the high tariff manoeuvre here, and they're coming in flat chat.
Get it off right now, Trento.
Yeah, if they can do this expertly, which I think they're going to. They got the bit between their teeth.
Oh, they got the same problem they had yesterday.
They've got to get the hoist in. That's all gone wrong. They did not need that at all. They've done so well down here. It's a capsize for Tech 2. It's gone so wrong for Tech 2. They've sailed a fantastic beat and a fantastic reach. They probably put themselves under more pressure than they needed to there, Bucko. And in the end, well, that's a shocker for them, isn't it?
Well, they didn't. It looks to me like he's just lost the timing on getting the halyard out of the cleat somehow, Jimmy. And so not enough halyard out, too much tack line and not enough halyard out. And it's, you know,
you can see Treno there. Like
it's a high risk manoeuvre.
He's punching the spinnaker, mate.
Well, we've seen them make one big recovery. We're going to see if they can do it twice in one race. It's going to be a big ask after capsize, but let's see what happens. Anyway, there's a lot of other boats racing, 24 boats in this race fleet. The next boat round, in the end, who got themselves sorted was Vintech on the big rig. Smeg, yet again, making a bit of a march through the fleet after a poor first leg. Then Kitchen Maker sailing nicely today, and Queensland coming up now in, I think, about 7th or 8th place. They're hanging on to the pace, no problem at all. Great job from them. This is David Haytner on the Queenslander, sailing with Nathaniel Dutton, and Elliot Mahar, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. I'll ask Elliot when I see him in the boat park later on. They are keeping it nice and tidy as well. And then next in is Royal Oak, and the Plants is online, followed by Maersk. And quite a big gap. And still, Tech 2 are yet to go round the mark. They are upright. They got the spinnaker down and away. But by the time they get round, they're going to be, 4 or 5 minutes behind the leader and probably barely in the teens. There's the Plants online, making a nice tidy rounding. Brett Van Munster, the boat builder of the fleet, as we know, sailing with Phil Marshall and Peter Mackey.
Good Big Mac's on for the rest of the week.
And Tech 2 finally get their house in order. Round they go. Oh, just as I said that, it's going from wrong to slightly more wrong. Certainly not the best rounding I've ever seen. I'd say the heart rates might be a bit high on board right now, Bucko. What do they do? If you're Jack McCartney, how do you settle the ship? What are you going to do to get back into this JJ?
Well, you know, I think he'd have to settle for 4th, perhaps, or 5th today would be the best he could hope from where he is now. And that's, you know, not that great, but that's all he can do. So just has to avoid any more errors. He's going to go the left side of the beat here by the look of it, which I think probably is going to be okay. He thinks that this is as far right as the breeze can be, and I think he's probably correct in that decision.
And there's Rag and Famish closely followed by Marcus Ashley Jones's URM. Big fast approaches from both of those two boats. And we're down in the teens now. Not quite sure what's happened to URM. A great performance from them yesterday in boat speed terms. They had a few little incidents, but they looked pretty competitive as they did in the practice day, but not quite working for them today. And behind them, Shaw and Partners. I'm not sure what happened to Shaw and Partners. We did see them doing pretty well up the beat. I've got a feeling, Bucko, they must have had some kind of an incident to be that far back.
Yeah, not in our sight, whatever it was. And, you know, they were up in 6th, and so they're now back to, what's that, 10th or 11th, yeah. So that's a big fall. Tech 2's in more trouble. Wow. Can we get a shot of that, guys? Tech 2 behind the ferry.
Yeah, it's a long way away from where we are, but Bucko just mentioned they tacked off onto starboard. Unfortunately, they then tacked right into the line of a ferry. When it goes wrong, it goes really wrong, and they sailed right into a void. Didn't capsize, but they just stopped dead for what felt like 30 seconds or even longer. You just saw Bird and Bear going around a second ago. It's been sailed by Tom Clout with Cameron and John Walton on board. And next boat around is today's sponsor. That's Ilve, sailed as usual by Pedro Vizzoni, Matt Doyle and Jerome Watts, having a better day than they have for a while. Behind them is SeaTech, and then it's Yvette Heritage on Noakes Blue, Birkenhead Point Marina, and Finport's still struggling to make any kind of an impression here, Bucko. I thought by now we'd see them making a bit of an advance, but it's tough for them today.
Yep, they're a whole beat behind. Winning Group leads, Honda leads from Winning Group. And Honda's got a big gap now, wow.
Yeah, we're just looking up to the top mark with our eyes. You're just watching a couple of boats going around the bottom mark. It's a pretty short beat as the boats you're looking at go around the bottom mark. The leaders are already around the top mark. As Bucket said, our leaders are Honda Marine with a decent bit of a lead from Winning Group. Noakes Red and John Winning Yandu extremely close behind, so we got a bit, and then it's Smeg will be the next boat around after that, but our leading 4 are a long way clear of the rest of the pack. Here's Honda Marine. She's been around that top mark for probably a minute or two already, and if they can lay Bradley's, which I'm not sure they're going to, are they, Bucko? If they can, they can just launch down the harbour.
The body language says they're laying, but only needs one header and they won't.
Look at that. You can see Bradley's off your left. There it is. There's the headland. They've got to try and get around that lighthouse because that ain't moving anywhere, that's for sure. And if they can't get the bow up, they're not looking good now. They're going to have to do a drop inside them. Their main competitors did not do a jibe away, which these guys did. So Winning Group, Noakes Red, and John Winning's Yandu are all up in a much, much, much higher lane. They will get round Bradley's without a jibe. This is going to shift the race back in the favour of the following pack.
Wow, hard work, eh?
We've seen Honda commit to that jibe away each time. Every time they go around the mark, they seem, oh, look at this boat handling challenge for Honda now. It's all on a lot of ferry boat wakes, making life super hard. They really had to focus there, Bucko, didn't they? That was a boat handling moment.
Yep, they nearly ate it in the ferry boat wake.
Nearly went for a big swim. Anyway, they've got round Bradley's. The 3 boats behind them, we'll get a picture of them in a second to give you a sense, are only now 15-20 seconds back. All 3 boats behind, Flying Spinnakers, there they are. There's the 3, chasing down Honda Marine. Honda will want to get the card up as soon as they can. And all of a sudden, Winning Group, Noakes Red, Yandu are all going to be right in this boat race. The idea of Honda walking away with this one, we forget that. We've got a boat race on our hands here.
Yep, a couple of little issues in the set and drop there. Winning Group right back up to their transom.
And Sean Langman, as we said, isn't letting go of this one. He was in the lead for pretty much the first lap, that he had that slight shocker on the downwind when he went with the kite when that didn't really work for him. But he has recovered. He's kept it cool. He's right in this as well. And John Winning staying in with this fast group as well. So great job from those guys. Smeg is the next boat back, having a bit of a mess getting their spinnaker up, but Smeg will be the next boat behind Yandu. She'll be in 5th. And we're going to have a nice close look at our leading 3. Breeze is up, Bucko. We're back into small territory. No doubt at all about that.
Yeah, Breeze back up to around 18 now, so definitely back into Little Rig territory, as Mark said. Good old run down the harbour here at these boats doing about 20 knots.
Yes, Honda Marine in the leeward and ahead position, so big advantage to them, and looks like they're going to have no problems laying. It's like a perfect angle in a skiff. They don't have to sail too deep, too high, just exactly in the zone. Jimmy, I can tell you for your body language, you wish you're on one of these boats right now. It's the perfect angle, isn't it?
I want to be out there, but the old body, mate. She wouldn't handle it definitely for the whole JJs. I'd be probably good for one race and be broken and back on the camera cat in no time.
Winning group in second position, but it looks to me, Bucko, just a little bit like Noakes has got a bit of an edge on pace with them. Noakes has come into winning group just a little bit here. Not a lot between them, but certainly no lack of pace from Noakes Red.
No, but a lot of crew weight probably helping a bit here. It's true VMG run, and a bit of jiving to get down to the mark. And just enough bump down the bottom that could again be interesting.
Yeah, I think you could probably see on the screenshot that you can see the white water, a little bit of white caps. It's just a little bit of just enough wind to show a bit of whites on the top of the water. That lets you know we're in the sort of 16, 17 knots of breeze, puffs in the 20s, bit of dark cloud around, hopefully no rain. I'm seeing more blue sky behind us, so that means we can keep the camera shots and the drone shots coming to you.
Yeah, it looks it's raining over North Head where the bow of the camera cat's pointed, but the rain is bypassing the race course at the present time and blue sky upwind of us. So I think we'll finish the race without any further micro effect of localised rainfall.
Yeah, let's hope that's the case for sure. In the meantime, a little bit of a lull followed by a gust has let winning group just extend away from Noakes Red. The winning group crew playing that very nicely indeed. Out front on the Marine continue. You just see the gap between Noakes Red on the right of your shot and winning group. A little bit of a lull, and it's Sevi Jarvin's back in the same problem. He's bow off in a lull as Noakes comes storming into him, and then he should get the letdown release. But Noakes right now making a big inroad into winning group.
And Honda making an inroad into winning group as well. Honda now skipped away to about 30 or 40 seconds.
Look at the wash off the back of winning group for that drone shot. Look, that white water you're seeing, that's just sheer raw speed. They are doing, 5-6 knots more than winning group in Noakes Red right now. Perfect angle again for them. They have to start thinking about a ley line soon. Probably about 1 minute to 1 minute 30 sailing from the bottom mark. There they go. Honda Marina just rolling into a jibe. They're just slightly off camera shot there, but Honda have done safely got the jibe in, so they're now on port jibe, looking somewhere near a ley line. And we're going to be seeing winning group and Noakes Red setting up for a jibe soon. They're not a million miles away from this lake. Both of them have got plenty of breeze on right now. Still, they're just glued together, aren't they? Noakes leading the jibe here. They'll go first. Sevi won't want to get in the bad air there. Oh, we've got to get a jibe. Not a great exit angle there from Noakes. They just didn't turn the boat fast enough. And
great jibe on the winning group.
Winning group, fantastic jibe in the same amount of pressure.
Winning group at full noise. Looks like they got the ley line about right.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they were held out a bit there, Bucko, by Noakes. They couldn't jibe back.
Completely.
Yeah, in the end, both get away with this in tricky conditions, but definitely a better jibe from winning group. But Sean's still in this. And the other boat that's still in this is still Yandu, John Winning. We haven't talked about him for a little bit. He's still only 10 to 15 boat lengths behind this too. He's right in this. So the race course at the front, we've still got our leader, Honda Marine, who is not going to lay on port jibe. We'll get down there and have a look at them in a second. They've got at least one more jibe to come. And then it's winning group and Noakes Red are in second and third that you're looking at now. And just behind them is Yandu with a white spinnaker. You might just see them off the left of your shot, but you'll see them in a second. It won't be long until we get to them. They are absolutely in this race. And the next boat back, I'm still looking over my shoulder. And it was Smeg and Vintech. I think it's
Smeg, I think. Well, Vintech should probably get down here pretty quick with that bigger rig anyway, Mark.
Yeah, well, they'll keep the boat upright down here's another issue, but you're absolutely right, Jimmy. Vintech and Smeg are the next boat back. Up front, it's Honda Marine are jibing on the final lay, bottom mark for the last time. Tough boat handling manoeuvre, but I expect they'll be right up to it.
Pretty tidy jibe drop. Nice and conservative.
And Bucko, great ley line as well from them.
Yep, exactly on the money. And you'll see winning group do, I think, exactly the same thing. Just a nice, easy jibe drop. No panic. Bit of bumpy water. The swell is wrapping around south head enough.
Yeah, you can see the swell on the picture now. Winning group are pretty near where we are on the camera cat down by the mark. Winning group got one more jibe to come. There's an underlying swell as well as plenty of local puff. And then you get these funny little lulls that makes the boat handling so challenging. Anyway, Honda Marine are safely around the bottom mark for the last time, leading race 2. Next in Looks like it's going to be winning group. Already got that kite tied away. And then it's Noakes Red a little bit later on the kite. That might not do them any harm at all here. They're going to close up into winning group a little bit.
They've early jibed, haven't they?
And Noakes a little bit short on the lay line too, mate.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. They're sort of getting away with it by running the kite a bit later, but yeah, a better lay line from winning group. Winning group go round in second position. So that's Sevi Jarvin, Scott Babbage in the middle, and Sam Newton in the bow on the blue hold winning group. And in third position, great job again, Sean Langman, hanging tough in this tough company. He looks rock solid in third. He'll want to have a little look at second place, try and put winning group under some pressure. And next around, John Winning on Yandu, best performance. Jimmy, best performance we've seen from John Winning for a while, maybe all season.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I don't remember him up in the top 5 this year, but great to see John Winning.
Well, give some points to
illustrious charger.
Give some points to Michael and Fang.
Yeah, mighty burger up the bow. He's no spring chicken either. So and then Fang's probably what I'm guessing probably in the 30s thereabouts. So he's poor bloke he's doing all right. But no, I think they're doing great. And as I said, I seen Woody run this morning first time on his brand new knees, and I said if you get a good place today, that's what you can be doing every day. So
he will do. He'll take your advice. That's the first 4. Next boat in is Smeg, coming in a pretty nice little ley line. They've got some pressure. They're still running with the kite, coming down here nice and fast. They're going to go around in 5th. Smeg, kind of the same stories we had from them yesterday, improving all the way around the race course and getting themselves up into a pretty respectable position. It's going to be another good race from Smeg by the looks of it. They will go around in 5th, 4th, 3rd, not out of the question yet. Plenty of boat handling challenges to come on this race course. This race is never over until the end. We've got that nasty boat handling test from Shark Island down to the bottom of the course, and then a very shifty last beat. Plenty of challenges to come. But in 5th place is going to be the red hulled Smeg, sailed as usual by Mika Lane and his 2 of his best mates as well. Ricky Bridge and Pete Harris. And next is going to be Kitchen Maker, and that's a much, much better performance today from Kitchen Maker than the one we saw yesterday. Royal Oak, pretty competitive yesterday up until the very end of the race. They too have come into this fleet with some kind of intent.
I tell you who's vanished though, Mark, and that will be the Vintec.
Yeah, Vintec has them in Tech 2, and the other boat we're going to keep an eye on here, trying to make a recovery.
Over near Bottle and Glass, they are, Bucko. Up, just getting the back off the riding lever, mate.
Getting
yes.
off the riding lever, indeed.
So, Jimmy, they're definitely a capsizer, were they?
Yeah.
Anyway, good on them for having a crack,
Well,
why not?
We did say it would be hard to keep it upright with the big rig and this stuff, but that's what's happened. Next around, there is the Kitchen Maker. Much, much better day today. From them, that's sailed by Jordan Gerd as usual. Standard crew, that's Lachlan Doyle and Tom Quigley. Kitchen Maker in 6th place, I think that is now. And in 7th place, it's Royal Oak Hotel. Another great performance from them, but we're kind of getting used to that, really. And then next back is going to be Appliances Online and Queenslander. Shaw and Partners, they've made a big recovery too, haven't they? I mean, they were in a terrible state at that bottom mark the last time round, and we think they must have capsized. Tech 2, we know capsized. It's right in front of us. So 2 of our top performers from yesterday, who finished respectively in 2nd and 3rd, well, they are in the teens. There's still time to make a recovery, but realistically, Bucko, Tech 2 into the top 5, probably not going to happen today, is it?
No, he's the best he can do. He might be able to catch Kitchen Maker. That will be the absolute best case, I would suggest.
I think you're probably right.
Got this lay line wrong, so he's going to run square by the look of it. It's pretty windy again now, so he might just be happy to do that. But Shaw and Partners overshot here, Jones. We're in.
Yeah, they had a bit of a problem. I've just seen Timmy running down the back of the wing. I'm guessing the windward sheet was probably stuck around there, and makes it a little bit hard for him to.
While they do that, Tech 2 have had to do a double jibe as they approach this bottom mark. As you said, Bucko, they got that ley line inside out.
Oh, my word. Every time you mention Tech 2's name, Mark, they have a swim.
I understand it is my fault entirely, and I will take that on the chin. But there they go. This is not the day that Jack and his team wanted. We won't dwell on that too much. You can see with your own eyes That is not a great performance, but they got the ley line wrong, and one problem leads to the next. It is tough down here. It's a tricky wave pattern. It's gusty. It's a little bit ugly, and it's not hard at all to make a big mistake, and that is a big mistake from Tech 2. Whether that is a JJ Giltinan ending mistake, you get a discard but only one, and you're going to have to be absolutely clear today is their discard. They now have to sail a perfect series from here on in. Not impossible. They could do it, but it's a big ask. In the meantime, URM is the next boat that goes round on camera now. Disappointing day for Marcus and his guys as well, and a little bit of time to recover from them, but probably too much to do. So back up to the rest of the fleet. We're going to try and get up somewhere near back to the front, tell you what's happening in the small places. And we're going to hack upwind. We're also seeing coming down here, back of the pack, we've got Finport still struggling to get anywhere near the front. We've got C-Tech back in the cheap seats. We've got Vintech, not surprisingly, after a swim. And Bird and Bear look like might have had a swim as well.
Birkenhead Point Marina there with them.
And Birkenhead Point. Sometimes, well, Bird and Bear, I think we might have expected to do a little better today as well, Jimmy. Not happening for them.
No, Tommy's having a bit of a problem with it, but he's getting there slowly with it. As you know, it was late on the water, that boat, and they just haven't had a settled crew, so which makes it not easy coming into these championships. Like you see the Polish guys that sailed together, they're in those positions, but when you've got a new boat, new crew, a whole magnitude of issues comes their way, and they had a lot of breakages, if you remember, when they got the boat on the water, of a fitting on the mast breaking off, and they so they didn't get a lot of time sailing even when they did get on the water.
Yeah, no, you're right, good point. Late on the water is never a good way to go, is it? Not in this fleet. It's just going to be too hard. So we're just going to blast upwind for a little bit and join the leaders. Remember, they've got one more time to go around Shark Island. They're on a long, long beat up Sydney Harbour in what is now right bang smack in the middle of small rigs, 16, 17, and definitely puffs up into 20 knots or so. And then after that, it's the bear away at Shark Island, that tricky two-sail reach. We saw Tech 2 come undone on that. We saw Sean Langman come a bit undone on that as well. Will our lead at Honda Marine keep it cool?
Captain Jack Sprague on the screen on the Alzotto.
Oh, there you go. You're right. That mainsail looks in a better state today, Jimmy, doesn't it?
Yeah, he managed to get it repaired last night. So he was all happy this morning when I was talking to him, and he was hoping for a better day than where he's coming at the moment. That's for sure. He was talking up a big game this morning.
The Talk It Up Cup.
Oh, someone's got to win it, don't they, Bucko?
That's right. Yep. Mark, breeze here now. Every bit of 18 knots where we are on the camera cat, just coming up towards Noakes.
It looks like Yandu might have made the jump on them here, Bucko. Not quite sure if Sean's had some kind of an issue. He's sort of dropped a long way off the back of winning group, and he's being overtaken by Yandu. I think he must have had some kind of a problem.
Yeah, it looks like he's had a little stoppage of some kind. Smeg's certainly making inroads. Now the 235 kilo crew weight doesn't feel so comfortable.
No, maybe that's the issue. Look, just a quick update at the front of the fleet. Honda Marine still lead. Look like they've extended their lead from winning group, who in turn have extended their lead on the third boat, which is now John Winning on Yandu. In fourth place is Sean Langman, the one we've got on screen right now. You can see Sean Langman and Yandu very close together, but a decent gap, at least 30 seconds up to winning group, and probably more like 40 seconds then further up to Honda Marines. And then the next boat back, and also making inroads, Bucko, Smeg. We saw this yesterday. They look pretty competitive today in this stuff.
Yeah, I think you'd almost back Smeg to get in front of Yandu by the end of the race.
Top three, do you think?
Yeah. No, this is what they came for, uprange. They're pretty solid and a lot of riding moment.
Speaking to Petey Harris, in the boat park earlier on, he was saying yesterday was the first day's walk on a thermal rashie on Sydney Harbour.
No, it was one of those days, wasn't it?
Yeah, he goes, I was absolutely surprised at, he goes, how cold it was, and he asked how we fared, and I said, oh mate, we were fine, we had the heaters on, and
yeah,
We were frozen as well, but yeah, it's interesting, yeah, because they're moving all the time, and you know, you keep relatively warm doing that, but yeah, to wear a thermal rashy.
James, I can tell you I was a bit under rig, as you're aware, and I was just slightly hypothermic, you know.
Well, at one point I looked over and all I could see was blue lips.
That's right.
Matching your nice blue jacket. So,
that's right.
But all three of us, like, because we're the three commentators on the Cat are very exposed. All the rest of the guys have got boxes to hide in. But yeah, but back to the racing.
Very exposed in more ways than one, Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed. So we are following right behind John Winning on the very good ship Yandu, currently sitting in third place in today's race with just about a quarter of the race to go in total time and distance. So we're getting towards the end of this race. It's currently 5 to 4 local time on Sydney Harbour. And for all our viewers, if you're watching live, remember tomorrow is a lay day. There is no race tomorrow, but we will be bringing you 2 races on Tuesday, starting at the same time, quarter to 3, but 2 back-to-back shorter races. Make sure you are available and tune in for that, or watch the recorded version if that is more convenient for you. So today, a bit more work to do for these leading boats. Honda Marine will be feeling pretty happy with the day's work. They've worked their way through to the front, and they've, as and when other boats have made errors, they've been there to pounce, and now they've got a little bit of gap between boat number 2 themselves and boat number 2. They're just showing they've got plenty of boat speed in these conditions just to keep extending. And John Winning about to tack off the hard left of this beat. Won't be long. He'll have to before he hits those rocks, and then he'll be tacking over towards Shark Island. Here he goes.
Breeze just where we are now, up in the 20 knot range. Proper little rig.
Yes, it's really nice little rig, isn't it, Bucko? It's nice and fresh. You can swing it out hard as you like. A little bit of range left in the rig, but starting to get towards the end of it.
Well, it'll make the two-star reach a good one.
Oh yeah, not long to go. Couple of minutes until Honda Marine get round the top mark, followed by the rest of the fleet, and they've all got to get down that two-star reach. And if the breeze stays in where it is now, it feels like it's sort of in the 18, 19 knot range, puffs just into the 20s. That will be pretty interesting. As Winning Group put in their starboard tack, a decent shift just off the back of that big puff, so they're just going to stay in phase as they go up there. No doubt, though, the Honda Marine are just crossing them on port. They're almost too far away to get a camera shot, but Honda Marine have extended up here, Bucko. I mean, they had a healthy lead, but not a lead the size they've got right now, so they've definitely got plenty of pace with this stuff.
It looks like more than a minute now to me.
Yeah, I agree.
And Smeg is now in front of Noakes sailing, so they just crossed Noakes over to the left of the camera cap, but
yep.
There's Honda in the background from the Winning Group, so that's the distance between first and second. Best part of a minute, you think, Bucko?
Yeah, a bit more, I'd say, Jimmy, but let's keep the clock on at the...
As they say in TV land, the camera foreshortens the distance. Honda looked further ahead than they looked on the camera just then. Certainly with our naked eyeballs, they look a long, long way clear. But it's fresh up here. I'm not sure how well you can see the on the water, but Bucko, we're into 20 knots now, aren't we?
Exactly. The puffs are 20. It's pretty spiky window still. It's not. It's still not. Still nothing easy about it, Mark. You know.
Yeah. Let's have a little look at Winning Group as they get up towards the port ley line. Pretty fresh. Got a seaplane that they're going to have to manoeuvre around. You're about to see part of the fun of Sydney Harbour. You get a grown-up seaplane like that getting in your way. They've got a cruising boat to the left of them. They've got plenty of traffic to sort out here. They want to minimise the number of boat handling activities they can. It's fresh enough that you start thinking about minimum number of tacks to keep it simple. And now they're past the seaplane.
Yeah, so Winning Group's tried to go here to the port tack ley line. A good stab at it from 400 metres or so. Honda shortened up over on the Shark Island side. Winning Group look a bit short.
Yeah, they're well short of that. Very hard to pick a lay from here, but they had to really wait for the seaplane, whatever they did, and they had to tack then because there's a cruising spectator boat, but anyway, they're a little bit their hand got a bit forced there, but they're solidly in second place. Honda Marine are about to go around the top mark for the last time off Shark Island. They're there now, they're just cracking sheets. They're entering the two-sail reaching phase of this race, and it's now theirs to lose from here. It will take an error for them to lose from here. If they keep it clean and tidy, race 2 will be going to our Kiwi champions of 2019. Things looking good for them at this stage in 2020. The winning group trying hard to get round the mark. The mark is that little yellow buoy you can just see off the bow.
No, they're going to get their mark. I retract everything I just said. They're perfect lay-low.
It's come good. I'm not sure it was always going to look this way, but it's come good now. We'll give them all the credit for that. And they're a little bit cracked as well. They're going to make this quite comfortable, as you said, Bucko. And they will be round in second. They're probably a solid minute behind Honda Marine. And behind them, well, it's Yandu. And then it's very close between Smeg and Noakes Red. Not much at all between those two. That will be your top 4. Here goes winning group. It's the bearaway time. Onto a two-sail reach. Not quite the drama of a bearaway onto a kite, but you've still got to pick that right angle. Sebi just waiting for the right moment to let the boat release.
Just on the face of a good puff. So that was 90 seconds, Jimmy.
Still waiting here, Bucko, aren't they? Trying to find the right spot. Here we go. Yeah. That's the one. And away he goes. Big fast turn down. Try to beat the true wind angle. Turn down change to get out of the death zone. Done very nicely indeed. And there he goes. Flat chat at the wharf. That's the fast line. He knows it all too well. He sailed a few skiff races in his time. And look at the angle changes that they're having to do to keep this thing at the right true wind angle. Fast as you like. Second place winning group. We're not going to stay with them because we can keep an eye on Honda Marine in front. And we'll try and use the drone and our eyeballs to let you know what's going on behind. But at the moment it's still Yandu looking like they are in third position. And then it's close between Noakes Red and Smeg. But for now, winning group absolutely launched. Like the technique here, Bucko?
Yeah, no, they're good. But looking in front, Honda Marine's run out of wind.
Yeah, Honda Marine gone light up front, quite right, Bucko. So winning group happy to stay low and fast.
The low road wins usually.
I think Honda Marine, well, they're too close to the wind to think of putting a kite up. But Honda Marine have literally got 10 knots less breeze. Oh, a bit of a fall from Sevi. They've got to recover from here. Let's see if he can do it.
He's unhooked.
We got Sam Newton steering the boat from the bow position. He came back. Good skills from the boys. Scott Babbage going to the back of the boat now. No, that was just a bit of a wave. Great recovery. That's the kind of stuff that happens in these conditions. Puffy as you like. When's the next puff coming, Bucko?
Everyone wanted to have a steer.
Yeah, so we're now in this sort of 8 to 16 knot type mode, and Honda must have, they came to a virtual standstill. The winning group's done a good job here. They've taken, despite that little bit of action there, they've taken back at least 30 seconds.
Yeah, net it's played out all right. A bit of drama there, but in the end they made a recovery of a sort. Nothing was planned there, but you have to improvise sometimes, Jimmy, don't you? You just have to do what you can do. In the end, they found a way to solve the problem.
Yeah,
little unconventional.
I think Sammy got blown back in the boat by the wave when they dunked it there, and Sebi got stuck under the wing. So, they're all.
And look at the traffic here. We've got a big ferry on the right-hand side just off your shot. You can see a white boat. There's a much bigger green boat to the right of the ferry going to cut right across winning group. They're going to have to make a decision here, have to take the transom. That won't be really the angle they want to sail at. So there's the ferry. It's all going on. The Honda Marine, in the meantime, got themselves launched in a great puff. They've got no problems with the ferry or the spectator boats. They're in second, and the next boat back in Yandu in third, sailing another fantastic two-sail reach. They're coming into the back of winning group as fast as they can. They're probably still 30 seconds plus back, but making inroads. The next boat behind them, just to keep you fully updated, is Sean Langman and Noakes Red have got back ahead of Smeg. Smeg are the next boat in fifth. So that's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still, they've got to finish this two-sail reach. Then it's a beat to the finish. Plenty more going on. And poor old winning group go from problem to problem. Now they've got a void of breeze caused by the big green ferry. Don't do a teabag capsize there, lads. They've got no wind at all. They've got a big white cruiser just behind them, just giving them a bit of a mental scare. And they're watching Honda Marine cruising off into the distance. But they're keeping their heads as cool as they can. But John Winning on Yandu is sailing about 10 knots faster than them and approaching from behind.
Yeah, The winning group might have been better advised to sail a little bit higher and just
There's Yandu flying up behind you're watching on screen right now. Out in front of them, winning group, I can tell you, have not got going. They're still doing 2 knots, 3 knots, danger of a teabag, capsize from them. They're just in the biggest void you've ever seen. Bucko, did they have any alternatives there?
No, I think they did. The size of the Big Manly Ferry is so significant that...
just massive, wasn't it? What a difference. Look at Yandu here. Look to the left. You're about to see winning group. Yandu have caught right up into the back of winning group. But Yandu too got to get through this little funny voidy patch.
But the wind has re-exerted itself down at the water level where winning group is now. Yandu will hardly stop at all here.
And then behind them, Noakes Red and Smeg are making big inroads as well. We're going to end up with these 4 not that far apart. I think winning group are going to manage to keep their lead, but it is closed up dramatically. Great job by John Winning on Yandu, keeping cool, seeing his opportunity, charging into the back of the winning group.
They're pretty energised. Fang Warren has brought a lot to the boat, hasn't he?
No question at all. They look quick, composed, got the boat handling skills. They know the harbour inside out, and they are in 3rd place. A very well-deserved 3rd place indeed. They've been quick all day long. Boat handling's been right up to scratch, and they are still coming into winning group. Every time I look at them, they're coming into winning group.
Michael?
Yeah, I think it's, the crew work on winning group's going to be a little bit more polished, I think, coming up this last work. But we'll wait and see.
Probably, but, looking at that 2-sail reach, you'd give all the points to Yandu in comparison. Behind them, Noakes Red and Smeg both want to get involved in this little fight. They're both going through that little patch off the corner, whereas a big white cruising boat not being at all helpful to the fleet. But that's boats 4 and 5. Noakes Red and Smeg in a little race of their own, but they are back in 4th and 5th. The battle for 2 and 3 is right in front of you. Remember, Honda Marine have already gone round this mark. Honda Marine are launched up the beat, at least 2 minutes clear. They'll be crossing the finish line in not much more than a couple of minutes. Looking very good for Honda Marine indeed. In
sorry,
first
viewers,
place.
we didn't get the clock on Honda, but we don't need to, do we?
Our eyeballs tell us it's a long way. Under no threat whatsoever. Plenty of breeze coming down here. In the meantime, just to bring you up to date, behind us, Smeg has now overtaken Noakes Red. Both those boats got caught in that nasty patch on the corner. Smeg have taken advantage of it, rolled Noakes Red, and you can see them now, and there is Smeg, are now in 4th position. But that battle between those 2 red boats, that's going to go all the way to the end. We'll keep our eyes on that one. Lots to look at here, but you're watching at the top of your screen with a bit of a fancy split screen manoeuvre going on here. You can see at the top there is Yandu and Winning Group. You can be sure Winning Group will be covering them all the way to the finish. And at the bottom of your screen there is the Smeg Noakes Red battle. No more than 2 boat lengths between the 2 red boats. Behind them, well, it's quite a long way to look back, but that looks like we got Shaw and Partners in a whole world of breeze flying down here, along with Royal Oak. So Royal Oak and Shaw and Partners look like the next 2 boats back, and all I can tell you is they're in a lot of wind, which is coming down this way. Plenty going on. More action till the finish of race 2. Honda Marine very close to crossing the line for another win. Not there quite yet. In 2nd and 3rd, it's still Winning Group, and Yandu in close company.
Been a tough day on the Winning Group. Ferries to the left of them, ferries to the right of them. But they've survived that one. And
I think Yandu might be quicker actually at the moment. Bucko, that's the other problem the Winning Group have got. They're trying to control a boat that's just got an edge on them.
I doubt that will be the case. It's possible. But...
Well, we'll watch them as they work their way up the beat, but up the top of the beat is our champion shot, Honda Marine from New Zealand, approaching the finish line of race 2. Honda Marine with the champion crew of David McDermott, Matt Stephen, and of course Brad Collins on the front. Here they come. Another awesome performance by Honda Marine. They weren't at the front at the start of this race, but bit by bit they worked their way through.
And a bit of an overload into the finish.
Yeah, it's about the first mistake they seem to have made today. The story of today, same one for them. They let other boats make mistakes and they just hang on and wait for their opportunity, and of course when they get it, plenty of boat speed. Still haven't quite crossed the line, but I know they're about to, as a big puff hits them. Great job. The winner, as the sirens go for the spectator boats, the winner of race 2 of the 2020 JJ is Honda Marine. A great weekend's work by our current champions. 2 bullets, 2 races. The rest of the fleet got some big questions they're going to have to find some big answers to. In the meantime, the battle for second and third, while winning group have taken Yandu all the way to the ley line, which you'd expect them to do, and now they're both sailing a fast forward starboard ley line all the way to the finish. We'll keep an eye on them. There they are. The drone getting ahead of us on the camera cap, which is a bit helpful. So winning group and Yandu in second and third, and the 2 red boats behind them, well, they've gone separate ways up this beat. Remember, it's a battle between Noakes, Red, and Smeg.
Wow, this is amazing, isn't it? It's closer than we thought. And
well, we say before, Yandu not slow at all, and look, winning group having to do absolutely everything to try and fend off John Winning on Yandu. There's nothing between these 2 boats. Arguably Yandu quicker. Yandu have come into winning group here. Look at this. This is a fantastic boat race at the end of a long 2-hour race. There's barely a boat length, half a boat length between them. This is all boat handling skills now. Who's got it when it matters under pressure? There's the committee boat on the right. There's a bearaway to come here. Winning group have managed to lock these guys out above the ley line, but they've still got to do a bearaway. Well, you say that. There's work to be done here, Bucko. It's not over. Plenty of pressure on. This is the battle for second and third, and there's going to be just the odd second between them. Great performance from both yachts. In second place is going to be, are they? Yeah, they are. Oh, they're just going to make it. Watch out, Scott. Scott got nearly taken out by the committee boat. Winning group crossed the line in second place. Great performance. And outstanding performance from Yandu. John Winning, the eldest helm by a country mile in this fleet, showing the young fellas just what you have to do when it matters. Yandu, third place in race 2, top result. Everyone will be buying him a beer tonight.
Yep, awesome, awesome.
And we'll keep our eyes on the 2 red boats. They're going to be battling out for 4th and 5th. They've got another couple of minutes sailing. Remember, it's Noakes Red and it's Smeg, but it looks like Smeg have made the right choices up here. Smeg are going to get 4th place, also on the starboard ley line. You're just on camera right now, that is Smeg. And Noakes Red took the other side of the beat. They will end up in 5th position. So Smeg approaching the finish line. Again, a bit of a bear away for them right at the end, but fast finishing for sure. Great job by Smeg. They'll be happy with that. That gets another nice little single figure result. And I think it's going to be Noakes Red. We'll just get back and have a little look at them if we can.
Yeah, I mean, just back to Honda, mate, they weren't quite error-free. You know, we did see them put up jibe and have to drop the chute to get around Bradley's. When they got in a bit of a lull on the second run, overstood a little bit, but still pretty solid performance, good execution.
Yeah, for sure. So look, we ended up with Smeg, and Smeg ended up in 5th. Noakes Red under pressure from Royal Oaks. Clearly Noakes Red got some kind of an issue, I reckon, here, Bucko, because Sean's been fast all the time on a small rig, but he's got overtaken by Smeg and now overtaken by Royal Oak as well. We'll try and have a chat with him later on if we can to find out what is going on. But a great day for Sean right up until the last couple of legs, and then it's all gone a bit inside out for him.
I'd be a bit disappointed with that, but
maybe a rudder issue, do you think? Is the rudder playing up, possibly?
Still a good effort. I don't know, mate, honestly.
Could be. Royal Oak anyway crossed the line in 6th position, and it is Noakes Red, having been our leader for a while and looking really competitive, just not quite having the boat speed or maybe something else, dropping back a couple of places on the last 2 fresh upwinds. And the next boat back, if I got my maths right, I think that's 7th. Jimmy, 7th, do you agree with that? I think 7th position is Noakes Red, because I'm just seeing who can get top 10. Sean Partners, and guess what? Tech 2 somehow, despite 2 capsizes, are going to be top 10. Blimey.
core, blimey, indeed.
And
So look at that, they stayed upright after you mentioned them, Mark.
I just mentioned their name.
Now they're going on the tide again, mate.
8th position, Shaw and Partners, we are pretty sure. So we've lost our bearings fractionally. We were trying to get an on-the-water interview with Honda Breen. That's why we zapped up there, but we had a bit of a tech complication, so we couldn't do that, but we'll try and talk to them in the boat park either later on this afternoon or tomorrow when the live show starts. So we'll make sure we have a word with Honda Breen. Sorry, not tomorrow, it'll be on Monday, because, of course, on Tuesday, tomorrow's a lay day. That was Shaw and Partners finishing in 8th, and Kitchen Maker looks like they're going to finish in 9th, and then a bit of a battle between Appliances Online and Tech 2, and eventually we see Finport. We eventually get to talk about Finport. That'll be about the top 10.
They've had a very unhappy day, haven't they?
Every second time I looked around, they were upside down. So
fair point.
Import, so like
Fair
if
point.
these guys can stay with the sails in the air, they'll actually get a good result.
Yep. So Kitchen Maker, they go across the line just inside the top 10, and then Tech 2 looks like they're going to have just enough fast forward here to the bow forward on Appliances Online. You can see Tech 2. I know what's happened to them. Jimmy, what's your thoughts on Tech 2? Obviously far from the day they wanted. What do you reckon's going on board the boat?
I just think it's one of those days, mate. Like everyone has them, so but I'm sure they'll get back. I know Trevor's out here, like Trent's dad's out here watching, so you'll sit down with them, have a debrief, and go through it all and try and work out what they need to do.
And maybe the lay day tomorrow is just what they need.
Yeah, they probably will need it. So it's but a top 10's still great, but they can only do what they can do, and
But
2 swims is to get a top 10 still a good result. But you take those errors out of it, they'll probably would have been challenging for the podium.
That's right. Look, you just probably heard the sirens there. That's Queenslander just outside the top 10. Was the across the line, and just before that, Appliances Online and Finport, pretty much the same time as Queenslander. Yeah, you're right. Top 10 is a good performance, Jimmy, but not if you want to win the JJ.
No.
Not with Honda going with 2 bullets.
But no, exactly. But the other thing too, Mark, is they can look at that as that's their drop and plan for that to be their drop. But if not, a 10 is still credible. It's still something that you may have to carry come the back end of this week. Like I think the forecast is for it to lighten off for the remainder of the regatta. So everyone could have a bad day. I've never seen Honda have a bad day in the 3 years of dominating.
Oh,
2
no,
years.
we've seen them have a bad day.
Oh, one.
No, they've had a couple of bad days, don't worry.
That was a hangover
I
day
think-
after the presentation, wasn't it?
No. They've been upside down a few times. But Mark, I think Tech 2, after being so consistent through the Australian title, they do know how to do it. It's not they've just gotten slightly out of whack in dropping the chute. I mean, the capsizes have emanated really from the high risk chute drop and not executing it exactly the same way that they had been doing. So
Yep.
I'm sure they'll scratch their heads and have a think, and they're great competitors, as you know.
Well, they've got a day to think about it, but the story of today is our reigning champion, Honda, win race 2 to go bullet. In second place, winning group, looking super competitive. So 2 great results for them, a second and a fourth. They're looking in great shape as well. And John Winning on Yandu, almost getting second. He ends up with a 3rd place. Awesome performance from him. He'll be very excited by that. But thank you for joining us from Sydney Harbour. Remember, tomorrow, Monday, is a lay day, a day off racing. Watch the old videos, catch up if you want to. But we'll be back on the racecourse on Tuesday, live from 2 o'clock. The race starts at 2:45 for the continuation of the 2020. JJ, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you for joining us. Jimmy Berry on the driver's seat. Thank you for keeping us safe. Andrew Buckland, my co-commentator, and all of our tech team. Another top job from them. Wherever you are in the world, keep safe, look after yourselves. Come back and join us on Tuesday from Sydney Harbour. For Mark Healy, good day.